the meeting to order, if everybody could stand. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
You're making a lot of old man noises down there.
I am old.
We'll get a roll call,
My birthday
please.
was last
Jeremy
week.
Rivas,
Here.
Mike Jessen,
Here.
Ron Stone.
Here.
Greg Sims,
Present.
Andy Bozak, Mike Brickner,
Here.
Sylvia Graham.
Here.
Seven present.
Quorum. Approval of minutes for January 24th.
Move to approve.
Motion. Second. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. First reading, please.
Commissioners, or Councilmen, the following additional appropriations reductions have been brought for you tonight for consideration. General Fund salaries, reduction of $23,000. Consultants, additional $15,000. Salaries, additional $43,968. Salaries, reduction of $3,762. Salary increase of $7,840. Food and groceries, $175,000 additional. Salaries, $33,735. The accident report, maintenance agreement additional of $3,250. Cume Bridge Fund, a additional interfund transfer of $1,040,444.23. Firearms Training Fund, other equipment, an additional of $15,400. Health Fund, training and education, additional $42,000. Travel, additional $12,000. Local Roads and Streets Fund, other equipment, an additional $70,000. Contractual services, an additional $150,000. Motor Vehicle Highway Fund, hourly, an additional $41,600. Motor vehicles, an additional $300,000. Bituminous, an additional $1.5 million. Aggregates, $200,000 additional. Parks Operating Fund, hourly, $20,000 additional. FICA, $1,530 additional. Other equipment, $16,000 additional. Stormwater Fund, consultants additional of $200,000. Assessor Reassessment Fund, dues and subscriptions, an additional $5,952. Sex and Violent Offenders Fund, an additional for motor vehicles of $5,000. Local Income Tax Lit Fund, the Economic Development addition of $500,000. Drug Task Force Fund, an additional for motor vehicles of $20,000. Sheriff DEA Forfeiture Proceeds Fund, an additional for equipment rental of $135,980. 93.946 SUID/SDY Grant Fund, additional appropriation of $9,000. Adult Probation Community Corrections Pretrial Grant, additional appropriation for salaries of $3,762. FICA $288, PERF $421. The local roads and bridge, LRV CCM match grant fund, an additional for bituminous of $321,233. Tourism, an additional for salaries of $72,450, additional for FICA of $5,542, additional for medical life insurance of $19,376. An additional for PERF of $8,114, an additional for longevity of $1,250, an additional for contractual attorney for $1,000. First reading.
Everybody still awake? Yeah. All right. That was a long one for February, so we'll get into it now. You guys, I sent some stuff out to you guys that the auditor's office put together about the additionals over the last, I don't know, 15 years, I think. And you guys can see how we've gotten it under control in recent past. And that's the reason why the general fund is in the condition it's in, because of our ability to keep our additional spending down throughout the year. And here we are in February, and I think Joy calculated, I think on the general fund, we might have request upwards of $270,000 out of the general fund. So it'd be about a third of what we spent in 2022 in additionals. So I would just caution the council that, the reason the general fund is in the condition it is and some of our other funds, because we've been pretty fiscally responsible up here. So with that, commissioners?
Speaking of fiscally responsible.
Commissioners?
How is everybody?
Good. Great.
So the commissioners have a general fund 144 request in front of them. There's a Form 144 Executive Assistant HR Benefits Administrator 2, Executive Assistant 1, reason HR responsibility removed from her job description. There's a Form 144 Administrative Assistant to Executive 2, reason added more responsibility to job description. The third 144 change Executive Assistant 2 to Media Specialist, reason changing job title and adding more public relations and responsibilities and job descriptions have changed. You want to maybe explain what's going on here and what the plan here is?
Sure. When I first came into office, I met with the staff and realized that their job descriptions and titles did not match what they were actually doing. So we just wanted to be more accurate, and that's why we asked for the change.
So with that said, so you're taking away HR responsibility moved from her job description. I mean, I can only read as this, so one person doing HR, or is your plan to hire another person in the future?
That I don't know. Should Rhonda feel that she needed to hire someone, she would present a business case to us, and we would come before you again at that time.
The position that Melanie has, Massey, was never, when that position was created, if you all remember, those who have been around, we didn't have an HR department. That position was solely the executive assistant to the commissioners. And when we created the HR department, there was an overflow of responsibilities with that department, as you might imagine, having one individual, to run the entire HR department of a operation the size that we have. So some of that was thrown over to Melanie. And because of that, when Barb come in and we spoke, in December of last year about what changes that we may look at, one is to really use Melanie in a position of a true executive assistant, which she had not been doing. Basically, all at that point she was doing was paying invoices and whatever Rhonda would throw to her occasionally. So we felt it important that we utilize her talents, to the extent that we could, and change her title, and then, and I think, Jeremy, you asked the question, does that mean at the end of the day we hire a deputy or come before you? I'm going to be honest with you. Yes, I think that's going to happen at the end of the year.
She just said no.
She didn't know. Well, she hasn't been at this as long as I have.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing with the job duties now? Is she going to Rhonda's going to handle them?
Some of it is still coming to Melanie, but Rhonda is taking on the lion's share of everything that's coming in there. And there's just so much more that office could do if she had more help. She had an actual deputy with somebody coming in with HR experience. And she's never, Rhonda's never had that. We're trying to send her to different schools to get certified in other areas this year, and it's a lot for one individual to take on. But to be honest with you, it could very well have come before you and ask you for that position. Just want to be honest.
And I have, you're changing them from executive assistant, which I kind of, these were secretaries, right? And then we changed the job titles, and now they're going to executive assistants. Is that, what type of work are they going to be?
Well, Melanie has always been the executive assistant. When that position was originally developed by the Board of Commissioners.
Who are your secretaries in there? Do you have anybody that just, okay,
That just what?
that answers phones and you know,
Well, we have Kathy, as you know, the receptionist out
Okay.
front that answers the phones coming into the office. But Melanie will also answer phones coming into the back part of the office. But what the commissioners didn't have, Sylvia, was, when we, to help set with appointments, we're meeting more this year than we have in the past with these admin meetings. And, it's just, she's being delegated different responsibilities.
my fear is, I kind of feel like this is kind of speaking out that you are going to be asking for more help, and you were honest to say you were.
That's something you're thinking about budget next year, not
Yes,
this year?
yes.
Yeah, not this year, but it would be a budget time. I don't
Yeah,
believe in
budget
coming
time.
for new employees in the middle of a budget season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And truly, we would have a business case if that's what we were going to do.
And, yeah, if we couldn't, and I think Barb makes a very good point. It's going to be our responsibility to show you, or prove to you that it's needed. If we can't do that, then you say no.
Yeah, if I could, last year, we went through a pretty comprehensive wage study analysis and job description review with Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy. And I'm curious to know, as we adjusted job descriptions and didn't change the pay, have we been in consultation with them to get their take on what the job description should look like and whether or not that would warrant a change in salary, either up or down?
We weren't coming before you for a salary change at this point, so we didn't want to do that before budget season, so we didn't do that.
I just see, as I look at this, it talks about removing duties from a job description and then adding duties to a job description. And I'm not sure if that's exactly the right way to handle that without some sort of pay adjustment. And that's where, and if we haven't leaned on them, I would just recommend that we talk to them to have them
Okay.
review the new job descriptions and figure out where the pay
You're free
should
to
be
give them a
based on
raise
that.
if you'd like, Mike. So.
Well, I was looking at the one that removed responsibilities as well, so.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's,
Well, she's actually, she's now actually being an executive assistant, or an executive assistant to the commissioners, whereas before she was just paying invoices. But now she's truly acting as an executive assistant. Kurt, I don't know how he retained the title of executive assistant too, because he wasn't acting as an executive assistant at all. He was doing media, he was helping out at the meetings, and he was working on websites.
I think
So
that
he
was a
wasn't-
case that, Kurt's, as most of you probably know, Kurt's position was created. There was no example before we had Kurt come on board 5 or 6 years ago. And it was just that, I think that title was just thrown at it. And this title is much more fitting to what he's actually doing.
And we couldn't give Kathy the executive assistant to title because Kurt had it. So there could only be one executive assistant to.
Right.
But Kathy is actually acting as an executive assistant too.
Yeah, she,
She supports the commissioners.
yes, I mean, to truth be known, she's been back there longer than anybody. She probably knows more about a lot of their jobs than they do at this point. She's a very valued employee,
Yes, she is.
yeah.
Seems like a lot going on. If I'm reading the executive, so you're gonna have 2 executive assistants. Oh, they're gonna be $13,000 apart.
Well, we do have 2 executive assistants currently.
I understand, but
Yeah.
yeah, you're changing one to the media specialist. Right, is that what?
Right, we changed Kurt to a media specialist, which is what he actually does. He's not he's never been an executive assistant.
Are you guys planning on utilizing Kurt to help out more of the county with this media?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Mhm.
That was one of
The whole
the,
plan,
one
yeah.
of the reasons of, we sat down and talked to him, and that, we were gonna get more use out of him.
Well, people need more help with the internet and stuff, but
Right.
you guys do.
Well, we really want to use him to tell the county story. We really want him to be more of a PR person, so we've been working with him to help get him off having to help maintain departments' websites so that we can get him more into a PR role.
Right, and where he's developing a video and stories on, spotlighting each individual office and putting that on social networking sites so people understand what each of these offices actually do and where they're at.
And next week, he'll be doing EMA. So we're actually going to have our first article.
Look forward to seeing it.
I mean, it's your guys' office to run. I just, am concerned, you're removing HR responsibilities right now. You say that there's a need at this size of a county, but you're not asking for anybody else. Is it smart at this point in time to remove those responsibilities and just not wait?
Well, they're not, Jeremy, and I apologize if I didn't explain it properly, we're not removing any responsibilities from Melanie at this time. I mean, in other words, Rhonda has not been told, don't give Melanie any responsibilities. It's just that Melanie is taking on these other responsibilities as well, and you know, with the hope that, you know, maybe at the end of the year when we sit down and talk about it, we make our case for it, that, you know, there is you know, some help that comes in, and I'm not talking about just another secretary or body. I'm talking somebody truly that's coming out of the HR profession that can truly be helpful toward her and helpful toward us, with us. Because as you know, that Rhonda did not come out of the HR, she did not have an HR background. She came out of a legal background.
Being that it's this time of the year, I'd like to make a motion that we ask that this be put off until budget time, until you're already saying that you're wanting other people.
Yeah, you can do what you want. I don't understand that at all, Sylvia, not at all. We're asking for title changes, we're not asking for more money.
So that's a motion? So it's a
Yes.
motion to deny all three of these 144s?
At this time, and come back for reorganization at budget time.
I'm just for what it's worth, I think that, that departments kind of need to reevaluate. There's no extra dollars here. They're reevaluating structure of the department. I think department heads are going to do that, and probably should do that, kind of clean things up a little bit and just look at different titles and what fits the job. You know, there aren't any extra dollars here. It looks like they're, like I said, for what it's worth, they're just trying to clean things up, make it more,
Uniform?
yeah, uniform for the structure. So I'm just kind of throwing it out there. I think department heads, should be doing that every once in a while anyway. You know, kind of looking at what they have and seeing if they need to change things up. And again, I don't see any extra dollars here at this point.
All right, well, let's see where it goes. There's a motion on the
If there's
floor.
extra needed
Andy,
help
let's,
in HR, I can't see Melanie saying, no, she's not going to help out. You know.
let's see where this goes. There's a motion on the floor to deny. Is there a second? Is there a second on the motion to deny the 144 changes, all three? No second? All right.
I make a
dies
motion we
for a
approve.
Second.
There's a motion, a second on the floor to approve all three 144s?
Yes, sir.
Motion,
Oh, do you need me to
second.
read them out separately? I make a motion we approve the executive assistant, HR benefits administrator to assistant assistant one.
You don't have to name them
I'm
out.
leaving
You just
myself.
want separate
Oh, you
motions?
just name them out or separate
Just separate
motions?
motions, yeah. So we'll start with the first one. Andy, did you make the motion?
Red made the motion. I
Fred,
second.
so the motion just for the first one, for the executive assistant HR benefit to executive administrators. There's a motion, a second. Any further discussion?
My only comment would be that I'd ask that we have the job description reviewed at Wagner,
I think that makes sense.
Irwin, and Shealy.
Oh, I didn't hear that, Mike. What is it again?
Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy, the folks that did the job description wage studies, have them review it. See-
Sure, we can do that. Are they still on contract?
They will answer the phone if you call them.
Okay, all right. We'll try to do
Get
that.
the bill for it.
There's a motion, a second on the floor. Any further discussion? Can we get a roll call, Madam Auditor, on the first 144?
Mike Jessen,
Yes.
Ron Stone,
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Andy Bozak. Mike Brickner,
Yes.
Sylvia Graham,
No.
and Jeremy Rivas.
No.
Still has 5 passes.
5-2. Form 144, the second one, administrative assistant to executive assistant. Added more responsibilities to job description.
I make a motion.
Second.
Motion second, discussion. Can we get a roll call on the second 144?
Red,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Sylvia,
There's two mics.
Jeremy,
Yes.
and Mike Jessen.
Yes.
Passes 5-2.
6-1. Form 144, executive assistant to the media specialist. I voted yes. Reason changing job title and added more public relations and responsibilities and job descriptions have changed.
I make a motion.
Motion second on the third 144 for the executive assistant to media specialist. Discussion. Can we get a roll call on the third 144?
Red Stone,
Yes.
Greg Sims,
Yes.
Andy Bozak,
Yes.
Mike Brickner,
Yes.
Sylvia Graham,
I'll say yes on this one.
Jeremy Rivas,
Yes.
Mike Jessen.
Yes.
All right. You got your 144 changes. Anything else?
No, sir.
I think that's all you got?
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you, Mike.
Development Stormwater Management Director. Cumulative Bridge Fund, an additional $1,040,444.23 to transfer of funds. Reason, interfund loan to cover balance due for CCMG Community Crossing Matching Grant 2022 inlay project. The amount is to be repaid in the cumulative bridge fund from commissioners. There's an additional there. So we'll just take it one at a time instead of going through.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I second it.
There's a motion and a second on this additional.
The only question I had was, Jim,
Interfund.
how is this gonna be repaid? I'm just not sure about where, the commissioners, where they're gonna get the money.
Well, in the past, it's always been repaid. To give you details, to be honest, Sylvia, I don't have an answer, but it will be repaid.
It's just a loan from the bridge fund.
Right.
That's gonna be paid.
It has been done in the past. That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
I've been told.
How soon do you have to pay it? Do you have to
Like
pay it?
borrowing from your parents.
It'll
What?
have to be paid within a year.
So, yeah, I mean, probably not sure what happened, but this is our match, right? That has to be
Yes.
paid from last year. So, Jim, do you know, I had questions, Blair. Where do we usually pay our match out of?
It's always come between the commissioners and the council. I don't know, I can't answer for sure where that match has come from. It's always been put into that account. It's just we got the bill so late in the year, we didn't get the final invoice from Walt Kelly until the beginning of November.
Was it CCD?
No, it comes out of the state money. I was just curious and I asked, and we'll look into it further. We'll have discussions on. I just didn't know, because there's like $3.7 million in the MVH unrestricted. Can we not use that fund? I mean, what,
Well, that we could, I mean, that would be
I just-
less that we would be able to do with that for other things.
but, yeah. We'll
That's
have to
what it's
dig
there
into
for.
that, yeah. That's what, yeah.
That's a good point.
I just thought of that, but it doesn't matter. It's an interfund loan. It'll be paid back from the bridge fund. So.
Is this to pay the match?
Yes.
Or is it to, waiting for the funds coming from the state?
No, this is to pay the match. This is to pay the work that was already completed. So the paving was done last October or November. So Milestone is
We'll get her.
waiting on their invoice currently.
Did we already have the money from the state
Yes,
for 2022?
yes. So this was the county's portion to pay the state match to cover the paving that was done in 2022.
We don't put that in the budget?
Oh, it should, yeah. Typically we do.
Yeah, typically does.
For whatever reason, I can't seem to find anybody has an answer as to why it was missed.
So will you guys know to add that next year?
Yes.
No, I think so, yeah.
Do we have a 2023 community crossing grant program proposed or an application in?
Yes, Jim Blair, you can correct me, but I believe the application was submitted a few weeks ago, end of January.
Do we have the list of projects that are tied to that match? or tied to that program? I think that'd be helpful for the board's edification.
So there's, any further discussion? So a motion and a second on the floor for the additional, which is an interfund loan. Can we get a roll call on that, Madam Auditor?
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Mike Jessen.
Yes.
Fred Stone.
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Andy Bozak.
Yes.
Mike Brickner.
Yes.
Sylvia Graham.
Yes.
7-0.
Right there, no.
All right. Stormwater fund, additional $200,000 to consultants. Appropriation needed to cover drainage studies and stormwater consulting services.
Motion to approve.
That mark, I don't understand that.
I just marked.
This is a motion
To approve.
to approve the $200,000 to consultants,
Yeah.
additional.
Yes.
You can't do the motion and the second, Sylvia.
Oh, I've been, no, you were asking. I thought you were still on the motion.
So, all right, motion and second, discussion.
If we could hear a little bit about what the stormwater plans are for 2023, I think that'd be helpful. We've talked a lot about it over the last couple of years, and I know we've had a couple of different projects that are in process or pending, and I think it'd be helpful for the council to know where we're at with those projects, and I assume that's where a lot of these consulting dollars are going to go to.
Yes.
So specifically curious, South Haven, I'm sure continues. I know I'm hopeful that Shorewood's project is continuing, and so where are we at with some of those more significant projects? I think of Carriage Hills, which was a subdivision that had a hot topic last year, and so could you give us a little bit of an update on that, please?
Yes, absolutely. So this additional money is to cover the design consultant services for the ARPA projects. So that is Carriage Hills, Shorewood Forest, New South Haven, really just greater South Haven with Salt Creek Valley Commons roped in there as well. And then also looking at the Willow Creek Road Detention Project. But we're also looking at doing an additional drainage study for another problem subdivision that we have received multiple drainage complaints from, and that is High Meadows West subdivision up in the northeast portion of the county.
Was it about 5 years old or something?
I think, yeah, 15 or so around there. Yep.
So when you talk about those projects and some of them through the ARPA funding, we're not just beginning the consulting work on those projects? Are they, I assume they're well underway and hopefully are going to be starting soon?
Yeah, that is correct. So they are well underway. Carriage Hills, I know, is one that we're looking to get out for bid. Still here within the next couple of months for construction this year, still hopefully having some delays on getting easement agreements back from the residents to be able to move that one forward a little bit quicker. And then the rest of the ARPA projects, like I said, the consultants are still well underway, but those are a little bit more extensive projects. So we'll be looking at getting those released for bid at the end of this year for construction in 2024.
And maybe what would be helpful for the council, if we could just have a schedule of what major projects or when we'll start seeing ground being broken or activity in some of these different neighborhoods, it'd be helpful just for everybody's information.
Ooh, and our new media specialist can put that on the list.
Yes.
Well, I just remind I mean, those are all good ideas, Mike, but I remind the council that we have a stormwater management board that occurs at 9 AM, an hour before the commissioners meeting, where all this is,
Some of us have to.
and I'm just sitting here thinking, and the surveyor sets on there, you're right, is that, and I don't, that board was put together by ordinance. Why a member of the council couldn't sit on that board if they wanted to, which I think would be helpful to the council.
Regardless, I'd be happy to get a presentation put together to present to you guys about the future stormwater plans at a future
Just something to
council
think
meeting.
about if that's what, we'll look at it and see, tweak the ordinance and.
Well, I would say, pardon me.
Oh, no, sorry.
So as we talk about stormwater, I mean, those are big projects requiring a lot of money, and we're coming before for additional funding. Important to everyone throughout the county. If you live in Carriage Hills, you live here or there, you're concerned about it. So I think everyone, to have a summary of those projects, because we've been talking about it for quite some time, would be helpful, so I appreciate doing that. I'd take the same approach to the roads. So as we look at, and Jim's done a nice job of providing us what we did in 2022, and as I said earlier, if in 2023, whatever we're doing through the Community Crossing Grant Program, I think that'd be helpful to know, everybody. And then what we're doing beyond that, because I assume it's more than just the community crossing grant program that we're putting money toward the roads. Is that fair to say, Jim?
We'll have that discussion when I'm sitting up there, yep.
Okay, so, I just think to keep everybody aware, there's a lot going on, and to keep everybody on the same page.
But, yeah, I can ask the Stormwater Management Board, maybe we submit on a quarterly basis everything we got going on, what stage they're in, what the costs are involved, and
Yeah, but I think that'd be helpful. Significant money, big projects.
but we can have the highway to do that as well.
I got, what I think is a stupid question. If you're using ARPA money, why can't this money come from ARPA? This 200,000?
So the ARPA money goes to construction costs. This is the design cost for us to hire consultants. Yep, you're welcome.
My question was in regards to Carriage Hills, I know we used the ARPA money, and I think the designs were already, I thought were in place. I know you said something kind of piqued my interest was easement agreements.
Yes.
The last subdivision I was in had some problems with easement agreements.
Okay.
That has to be fixed. Cars are going into driveways, and one person should never be able to hold up a subdivision getting their drainage fixed. And I know my previous subdivision that I moved from, we had one person that was saying they didn't want to sign this easement because they didn't want to take a tree down. Everybody in the subdivision's drainage is now screwed up because of one person. I don't know how that is, but we have to figure that out with the easements.
Unfortunately, Red, probably.
I don't know if that's the case on this, but when I hear easements, I
I
kind of
understand.
get a bad.
But
it's
that's a
like these
very
people-
common problem that we run into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody doesn't want to play ball.
So,
I
and
mean, if they want to get their drainage fixed, it should be an easement anyways, right? I mean,
Well, yeah, the problem typically is right in front of their house, is the drainage isn't a problem. It's 2 houses down, so they don't,
well,
yeah.
Carriage Hills, I know, I think had some extensive work being done to it out there. Because I've had a lot of people ask me about it, and I told them, hey, it's on its way. Designs are ready, they should be bidding it out. Matter of fact, I thought it was already bid out. I thought it was ready to be going in spring, actually. That's what I was,
yeah, so the construction plans were 60% complete when we received the ARPA money. So we had to hire a consultant to get those kind of brought home, if you will. And just a point of clarification, the easement agreement I'm talking about, what we found out and why the design plans were only 60% complete is that the master tile was running adjacent to the storm sewer for the septic systems. The original thought was that the master tile would be in the rear yards, but that was not the case. So that's why we had to take a step back, reevaluate, do some redesign work. And then the easement agreements that we are requesting are temporary easements to be able to connect in the perimeter drain tiles from each individual lot to the new system. So that's why we kind of have a few minor design delays, and it's not like a full permanent drainage easement agreement that's putting the entire project on hold.
I know those people would definitely appreciate it if they could get
Yes.
that definitely done this year. So
That-
that's a major problems out there.
It's one of the highest priorities.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion? We get a roll call on the $200,000 additional to consultants?
Red Stone?
Yes.
Greg Sims?
Yes.
Andy Bozak?
Yes.
Mike Brickner?
Yes.
Sylvia Graham?
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas?
Yes.
Mike Jessup?
Yes.
7-0.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you all.
Yep, thank you.
Highway,
Hello, buddy.
local roads and bridges, so match grant fund. I guess that's what I was just looking at. That's not one.
Local roads and bridge match
Yeah.
grant.
So, there's an additional $321,233 to bituminous. Reason interfund loan to cover balance due for CCMG matching grant 2022 inlay project. This amount is to be repaid into the cumulative bridge fund from the commissioners. So it was over $1 million, huh? It's 1.3.
Yeah, last year CCMG came in at 2.321. That's how it came. We apply shooting for 2 million, but the way the grant works is once it's submitted, it's submitted. So if the bids come in higher, we can't just like scratch one road off because it's all as a package. So.
All right. There's an additional request from.
I make a motion, we make the additional.
Motion.
Second.
Second. Discussion. Seeing none, we get a roll call on the additional.
Greg Sims,
Yes.
Andy Bozak,
Yep.
Mike Brickner,
Yes.
Sylvia Graham,
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Mike Justin.
Yes.
Red Stone.
Yes.
Local Roads and Street Fund, LRS, additional $70,000 to equipment, reason appropriation needed for mowers, plows, and Bobcat attachments.
If you remember last spring, we came in, or I came in, we only budget 80% of our previous year's revenue, so there's excess funds every year built up, and the state's answer is to come in for an additional at the beginning of the year. So that's what actually all these additionals are for. Yeah, so that one, we need some the parts for our mowers, the actual mower deck themselves, some plows for some pickup trucks, and some attachments for the Bobcat.
Make a motion to approve.
And second.
Motion second, discussion. Roll call.
Greg Sims,
Yes.
Andy Bozak,
Yes.
Mike Brickner,
Yes.
Sylvia Graham,
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Mike Justin.
Yes.
Red Stone.
Yes.
7-0.
Additional $150,000 contractual services appropriation needed for road striping.
Move to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Second, discussion. Roll call.
Andy Bozak,
Yes.
Mike Brickner,
Yes.
Sylvia Graham,
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Mike Justin.
Yes.
Red Stone.
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
7-0.
Why only 80%? I mean, was that?
That's the
COVID?
directive from the State Board of Accounts. They want us to budget 80% of our previous year's revenue, so that's what we do.
And then you gotta come back and,
And then come back, and because there is plenty of, as Jeremy said, there's plenty of cash in there. We're at about an 80% cash to budget right now in MVH, so.
Yeah. All right, so MVH, additional $41,600 hourly, reason to increase for request of new mechanic assistant.
In the past, we had a mechanics assistant, but then years ago, that was dropped, and it was before I got in there. We have been short a mechanic for 2 years, so we're trying to figure out how to help get some stuff done. And even when we did have all our mechanics, we still had so much work that the truck drivers and equipment operators had to service their own vehicles. They had to do the oil changes on the heavy equipment, oil changes on the trucks. So instead of out working on the roads, they had to spend time in the shop doing that work. So we're hoping with the 144 down at the end here, we can hire a younger person, maybe somebody right out of tech school, to come in as a mechanic's assistant to
Are
do.
you not gonna be filling that mechanic position that's open?
Well, we still need that spot. Even if we do fill that spot, like I said, even when we had all our mechanics, we still had to have the drivers doing their own services on their
But
equipment.
in other words, that was dropped. You don't have a mechanic assistant open right now?
No, we do not have a spot for a mechanic's assistant at this
Okay, I
time.
thought the other day you told me you did.
No, that's the 144 down in here later.
Oh, okay.
We have an open spot for a mechanic, but not a mechanic's assistant.
Motion to approve.
second.
Motion second, discussion.
Yeah, so what you're saying is if a young kid goes to trade school, he might actually come out and have a halfway decent job, right?
Well, sure, that's where I'm at. When we get down to the 144, we're thinking hopefully $20 an hour is enough to entice somebody. And then also, we want to start doing our own in-house CDL training. So that's been one of the holdups on getting a mechanic, is we've had people apply, but they haven't had CDLs. So if we can get the CDL trainer set up through Purdue,
Then he trains.
then we can bring a mechanic in that is not a CDL driver, get him a CDL license or her CDL license.
I think that's a great idea.
So we'll start doing that in-house, trying to attract people.
And this job, is somebody 18 years of age can hold this, or is it 21?
They can at 18, according to the insurance, they've had to have had their driver's license for 3 years, so they could be 19 in 6 months.
So I just didn't know if that was
Covered under
somebody
our
from the
insurance.
Career Center, somebody graduating from the Career Center. I don't know if this, so that wouldn't apply for this then? They'd still be a little bit young.
They'd still be a little young, but if they, a year down the road, or maybe somebody that just graduated from Ivy Tech's training program.
Yeah, that was hard.
All right, any further discussion?
So is this full-time or part-time?
Full-time.
Does this 41,600, is that just the salary? What about the benefits package?
Correct. That's just the salary.
So the benefits package, is that
We,
out of
Yeah.
general fund?
now, we pay that.
You pay that?
We always have extra in there because we have such a turnover of drivers that we never use all that up.
Okay,
FICA and perf, you pay for
okay,
it.
thank you.
Right, we pay for the benefits.
So I'm confused now. So this is it says hourly, Leo. I mean, isn't that, you just said the same thing down below, $20 per hour? This is just an hour.
Well, it's listed, they list it as hourly, but it's salary, I guess, is what it should be.
Is it the same or different, or in addition to what you have listed below?
It's the same thing.
So the amount was the same, it's just a salary versus hourly?
Correct. Yeah, it's still, if $20 an hour, that's what the salary would come out to.
The only reason I ask
Yeah,
is just for
because
purposes of advertising.
highway we're paid, we don't have salary per se, because our guys, except for myself and Aaron and the two in the office, everybody's hourly. We're not salary.
How many mechanics do we have, Jim? Sorry.
We have 2 mechanics and then the mechanics foreman. We used to have 3 mechanics. We'd have 1 in Hebron, 1 in Chesterton, and 1 in Valpo, and then the mechanics foreman in Valpo.
And what's the mechanics foreman's role? Just to oversee the 3?
Right, but for this last 2 years, he's been a mechanic. So he's been doing more than what his job description.
And then we're saying that with this mechanics assistant, that will that get us to a point where the drivers aren't changing their own oil and so forth?
Right, so they can be out on the road actually doing road repairs instead of being in a shop working on their vehicles.
That's crazy to me.
So Jim, I keep looking down on it. It says part-time. I mean,
The part-time hourly coming up, you had approved during budget session, a $20 part-time, but it never made it into the salary ordinance.
but the additional $41,600 to hourly, you're telling me that's a salary position, a full-time salary position with benefits? Or is that a part-time, just $20 part-time hourly?
No, the mechanics assistant is $20. That'd be a full-time position. And then the part-time hourly, which is a different thing, is at $20 an hour.
This is the young person.
Part-time.
This is the young person you're talking about?
Well, he doesn't have to be young.
Yeah, he could be
Could
seasoned.
be Andy. Could be 19.
Yeah, the two $20 an hour down in the 144 are 2 different things. It's part-time hourly to help us with mowing on the side, we can get some guys that I've got guys that used to work at Highway that retired that said they would get in a mower tractor and mow roads for us in the summer. And then the $20 an hour for the mechanics assistant is what the $41,600 is for.
So this is 2 spots you're talking about here.
I think there's 2 144s there.
Yeah.
That he's addressing. The other one is the $20 per hour, since they work 8-hour days, comes up to $41,600.
So is it possible that mechanics assistant can work overtime, work more than 40, and get paid more than 41,000? Or is that just, they cap off at 41,000?
Well, if they work overtime, then we
Yeah.
get time and a half.
Okay.
Correct.
I just didn't know if that would apply to this. Okay.
Yeah, then that would come out of a different line in our budget than just the hourly would. I don't see them working overtime, but then, you never know.
So the first one's a salary position,
I have a question.
right? That should reflect a salary position.
It's an hourly position.
I guess
'Cause
Full-time.
Who's on
Full-time
first?
hourly
What's on
position.
second?
clear as mud.
Is it 1 person or 2?
It's 2!
But it could be one.
All right, so the first one, let's just start with the first one. So the additional of the $41,600 is to, it says hourly, and this is for a full-time new mechanic assistant, correct?
Correct,
With benefits.
correct.
But going to Sylvia's question, you have a mechanic position that's unfilled.
Correct.
Is it easier to find a mechanic's assistant than a mechanic?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, for what we're paying, to be
I was
honest
just,
with you.
you took the words out of my mouth. That was my question, was, did the
We're not
wage
paying
study?
near enough
Did the
for a
wage
mechanic.
study look at these wage rates? Because
Well,
I would like to know,
can't
because there's
answer
some,
for how the wage, they
there's
did
some
not-
wage study stuff that I see that I look and I go, there's people getting paid this, and then I look at mechanics and, you know, heavy equipment operators, and it just, I would just be curious. I didn't know if they actually looked at the hourly for, they looked at this one too, huh? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know where they got their comparison.
I don't know either. That'd be
No, but-
kind of interesting. Because that's probably why you're having turnover.
Well, sure, well,
Just to
yes,
be honest
with the
with you.
mechanic is, you know, public sector is, or private sector, I'm sorry, is some of
Yeah.
them, some of the heavy equipment mechanics are getting $50 an hour.
So,
Obviously, we can't pay.
I know you can't pay that, but
so we're missing, we're missing a mechanic, we're down a mechanic. Are we
Correct.
advertising, is that
It's
job
been
posted?
advertised, right? And we've got applicants, but they don't have their CDLs, so hopefully we can get that adjusted to where we can bring them in without a CDL, and then we can train them to get their CDL.
So why are we?
And how long have we been looking for a mechanic?
2 years.
Nobody applies for it.
Well, he's hoping.
It gets advertised on the county website and then through Indeed, and we don't get applications, and then all of a sudden it expires like after a month. So then it's like, oh, we gotta remember to renew
We've been
it.
looking for 2 years, that tells you something's not right.
because our wages are a little low on the mechanics end.
Well, especially if you have to have a CDL to do that.
CDL,
a
that's
huge
the thing, I
requirement. So if
mean-
we're training them to now get their CDL, that's beneficial to them as well, because
Right.
they'll have their CDL.
Right.
So I think that makes it a little more attractive. Is that correct, why you're doing this?
Right.
And if you do that CDL, would that be something, if they left early, there'd be some kind of a,
Yeah, we would work with
Punishment or-
Mr. McClure on that to see, have them sign some type of contract that, you know, if they leave within the first 3 years or whatever, we work with the attorney on, that they would reimburse the county for the cost to train them.
So you have 4 mechanic positions?
We have 3 mechanics position and the mechanics foreman.
Correct. And so you have just 1 vacant right now?
Correct.
The other 3 are filled?
We're adding two.
So, yeah.
So if you could wave your magic wand, you'd hire a mechanic, and you'd hire
Mechanics assistant.
mechanic's assistant, plus have a part-timer.
The part-timer has nothing to do with the mechanic part. The part-timer is to hire retired guys that used to work at highway department, will say, to go out and run a mower tractor on the side of the road for the summer.
So that's completely
Okay.
separate from it.
Or jump in a pickup truck when we get a snowstorm and help us plow roads. That's what the part-time
Part-time hourly
$20
does your
is.
stuff,
Make it more
is your,
sense.
right.
Or to hire some, we don't have a complete inventory of all our 30,000 signs on the road, so we wanted to hire some college kids or interns this summer to drive around and do an inventory on all our signs.
Any speed limit signs that are out there? Maybe that could help me out a little bit.
you want to take some down?
Yeah, my suggestion would be that if we have a position that's been open and we have presumably been searching to fill a role for 2 years, we've got to figure out what's wrong with that, and if that's pay, salary, benefits, qualifications, or whatever that is, we've got to get to the bottom of that. I think it's, as much as we want or need a new mechanic's assistant, by all rights, first things first would be to hire the mechanic. And so somehow, some way, if we can, to talk with the wage study people, find out where the disconnect is between maybe the salary that we're offering versus what the salary should be, but clearly, something's not working.
I think it,
Yeah,
go
he's
ahead.
saying that it requires a CDL, so he's not looking at mechanics that are applying that don't have a CDL. So now, with the trainer potentially on board, he can look at mechanics that don't have a CDL, because they're applying for the position, right?
Correct, yeah, we got 3 applicants within the last 2 months,
So we
but
can look at
nobody had a
these
CDL.
mechanics and then train them in-house. That's what he's trying to say, or I think he's trying to say. That's what I'm saying.
The
Now-
mechanic's got to end up in the long run having a CDL, because you fix a big truck, you got to be able to drive it, make sure it works.
So I think he's making a good, what you're talking
But,
about, Mike.
and that does sound good, but who is going to be training these? Are we gonna be sending them to a school that does the CDL training?
Purdue LTAP is coming up with that as we speak. In fact,
Okay.
they said they would have it all finalized at road school, where the new CDL requirements are they have to have so many hours of book learning, and Purdue is taking care of that to where they would take the course through LTAP. And then LTAP is also coming out with the train the trainer, where Purdue will train one of our drivers or 2 of our drivers on being CDL trainers. And then we as the highway department, register with the federal motor carriers as a training site for our own employees.
Well, can you hire one of those three now, and then knowing in the near future they take their CDL? Or
Well,
is that-
sure, yeah, once we get to this to where I know I'm gonna have I can get the CDL trainer on, lined up, yes, then we can start interviewing
Okay.
applicants that we got, yeah.
So you might have a mechanic in a month?
It's possible.
I hope so.
We already got the motion.
I don't remember.
what the motion
I
was.
don't know what the motion was for.
There was a motion for the.
That's a
I
problem.
made the motion for the additional, and then I think you seconded it, right, I believe?
All right, there's a motion and a second on the floor for
I think I
that.
got the two.
But you think you could fill this, you could fill this mechanic assistant at this, you think you could fill this mechanic assistant at this salary, the $41,600?
I think so, because it's gonna be a younger person that we would get in that is not a full-fledged mechanic.
And that'll help your three mechanics that are
Three
That are
mechanics.
overloaded right now.
overloaded right now. That'll take that off a little bit.
The three are gonna be people that are already retired that said they'd come back.
No, the three he's got.
Them are hourly.
Yeah, the three he's got right now.
Those are
So he's
hourly.
got, he's got three of these positions filled, the mechanic foreman and two mechanics. So, any further discussion on this? And MVH can sustain this? MVH fund can sustain this?
Correct.
So, can we get a roll call?
Mike Brickner.
First?
Yes. That's what happened. I went down there earlier and I said, who's vote first for each one of these?
Sylvia Graham.
Yes.
Jerry Rivas.
Same here.
Yes.
Mike Chesson.
Yes.
Red Stone.
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Andy Bozak.
Yes.
7-0.
Well, that's one down. Additional $300,000 in motor vehicles, reason appropriation needed for annual lowboy semi-tractor and steel drum roller.
Move to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Second. Discussion.
Jim, annual
Roll call.
lowboy
Wait.
semi,
Well, the annual, I put annual on all these is just because this is an annual appropriation event, and that's all the annual means. It's not,
You're not gonna do this yearly.
no. Well, I'm gonna be here yearly. Hopefully, we won't take this long, but, but I will be here yearly, yes. That's what I meant by annual. It's coming in here at the beginning of the year, and it depends on how much excess cash we have in that fund that we can use to move forward.
Gotcha.
Was there a first and a second on that?
Yeah. Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Sylvia Graham.
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Mike Chesson.
yes.
Red Stone.
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Andy Bozak. Mike Brickner.
Yes.
7-0.
Additional $1.5 million to bituminous, $200,000 to aggregate.
Move to approve.
Reason appropriation needed for chip and seal.
Second.
Paving. Motion and a second. So, I mean, Jim, is this going back to the reason, 80%? I mean, this is a lot of money for additional right away.
Well, we have 4.2 in cash in that account right now, and the original budget was only 4.8 or 5.2, I can't remember which year.
And that's MVH.
We have 80% cash on hand right now for that budget. And we bring in about $550,000 a month into MVH.
You do 550 a month, right?
Correct.
And is this the restricted?
Correct, that would all come, those, yes, everything listed here, the lowboy tractor, the steel drum roller, the bituminous, and the aggregate would all come out of the restricted side.
Any further discussion?
Then Jim, you are going to provide a 2023 plan in terms of what's going to get chipped and sealed and,
I got it right here, we're just finalizing it today, so I'll get it to you in the next day or so.
great, thank
How
you.
soon can you
Thank you.
start?
Chip sealing, hopefully, depending on the weather, the end of April.
All right, can you make sure that it's coming out of the right fund, though? Restricted versus, yeah. Thank you. Can we get a roll call on the $1.5,200,000 for bituminous in aggregate?
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Mike Chesson.
Yes.
Red Stone.
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Andy Bozak. Mike Brickner.
Yes.
Sylvia Graham.
Yes.
7-0.
All right. Mechanic assistant,
Here we go.
$0 to $20 per hour, $41,600. That's the 144 for the full-time, right? And then the part-time hourly up to $200. This is your supplemental people that you wanted some help with. Part-time hourly up to $20 an hour, and then you've added CDL trainer 2 at a $2,000 stipend per year.
Correct.
And is that your train the trainer guys that you're talking about? If they're a trainer, you'll give them 2,000?
Correct. They would be the ones that would go through the Purdue class and be certified to be CDL trainers.
Gotcha.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's a motion and a second on these 144 changes. Discussion. Seeing none, roll call on the 144 changes.
Mike Jessen.
Yes.
Red Stone.
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Andy Bozak. Mike Brickner.
Yes.
Sylvia Graham.
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
7-0.
Anybody got anything else? Maybe we can see a little more balance in the road work throughout the 3 districts, or?
With the community crossings, one district has 4 miles, one is 3.25, and the other is 3. Yeah, so.
Red was just complaining about, his district, not,
Yeah, how about goes where it's needed the most?
Correct, yeah,
Always
well, that's
doing
what
it, you
Pacer
know?
is for. The ones that are getting paved are Pacer ones, so.
Yeah.
Are we going to look at the wage study to make sure and see if they did miss something? I use that as.
So I know I'm gonna look at, it's on my notes
It's
for
on your
sure.
notes,
Yeah.
okay, I just want to make sure.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, keep us,
See you, Jim.
keep us up to date on, if you find that part-time mechanic, and then,
Will do.
Right.
yeah.
Oh, did you want to talk about extra paving? Did you mention that when I was sitting there?
No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, are you
Sheriff's
prepared to
gonna
talk
tell
to
you, he's
it?
on the end of the.
You know, in the way it had been in the past, and I sent, if you remember last year, we did the presentation, and I sent it to you, asked to forward it on, just kind of as a refresher. That, currently, the way we've done it the last couple of years has been the council and commissioners have come up with the $1 million match for CCMG. Along with last year, there was an additional 2.7 million allocated for paving. The way Matt ran these projections on RoadSoft last year is if we stayed at about what we're doing with the additional 2.7, we would be gaining ground every year. If you bump that up to an additional 4 million, we'd really gain ground. So it's just a matter of how much extra the council and commissioners, feel that they can spend to help bring those roads up. And also I included, when I scanned it in, I think it should be your last page, I actually gave a breakdown of the current ratings of the roads, where 50% of them are rated 1 through 4 poor. Right now on since you just approved the money for chip seal, we're looking to do about 40 miles of chip seal, so that'll bring that up. But chip seal wise, we're under 300, about 290 miles are chip seal. So hopefully we can get the O's all brought up to a high Pacer rating, and that'll help our overall rating. But where we really need the money, that costs the most obviously, is the paving. And right now that's estimated at about $230,000 a mile.
Yeah, as you look at the Pacer scores, I think it's Pacer that, is that the rating?
Correct, yes.
So we got over half our roads are rated as poor.
Right.
Which I don't think is any great surprise to anybody. And at some point, I think we will have to take a look at how much we're able and willing to commit to paving to get that score up. Now, we've made good strides in the last 2 years. In 2022, we added above and beyond an additional $3 million to paving. That's where you went into 17 subdivisions.
Yeah, that was in 21, where we went into all the
Okay,
subdivisions.
sorry, 21, sorry. And then 22.
That was about $4 million, and then last year, we did a lot of roads. We didn't really go into subdivisions
Which was the
last year. And that was
$2.7 million
$2.7 million.
over and above what
Oh.
typically is budgeted. So the last 2 years, 21 and 22, we've made the biggest strides that we've seen in a long, long time, if not ever. So it's something we still obviously have to address and focus on, and so that this report is handy.
That was one of my things. I did a deep dive into this report, and like I said, the 2.7 we did last year with the, was it the $1 million grant, 3.7, right?
Correct. Counting the community crossings match, it would
Well, it
come
was
out to
3.7, kind of got us up there, but the strategy, our current strategy is, where's Luke gonna lose ground? The $3 million a year strategy that you have right here, this is the report that, from last year, that we got. So $3 million a year makes slow and steady headway, and it's doable with current staff. So that's where, in my opinion, either we're just, if we don't fund it at $2.5 to $3 million a year, we're gonna actually start losing ground.
Oh, absolutely. That's why we're in the shape we're in.
Anything else for Jim? All right.
Keep up the
You're
good work.
spending money here.
Okay, well, let me know when you want a list for the additional, and I'll get one put together.
Yeah, thanks, Jim, appreciate it.
All right. Juvenile probation. This should be much smoother.
It's a reduction.
Reduction, it's a reduction.
Move to approve?
It's a reduction of $23,000 salaries. Reason reduction needed because we have a longtime employee of 23 years leaving the juvenile probation department. We're replacing them with a new employee at a reduced rate. So there's a reduction in front of you. I mean, could we do the 144 in the same motion? Or you still want those separate, Madam Auditor? Separate.
I make a motion.
There's a motion?
Second.
Second on the floor for the reduction of $23,000. Discussion. Roll call.
Fred Stone.
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Andy Bozak.
Yes.
Mike Brickner.
Yes.
Sylvia Graham.
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Mike Jessup.
Yes.
144 change, $70,000, $70,094 to $73,598.70 supervisor, and $73,598.70 to $38,107 probation officer. Need to reduce salary for new probation officer and increase supervisory position retroactive to 13/23. So that's quite a cut. But the supervisor, what are we doing there with the raise? Is that?
So basically, what we did is if the position that we're reducing, the 73,000 to 38, is actually a line officer position, and that's the person that's being promoted. They were already making 73,500, and actually the supervisor that left was in the same pay band as this officer that we're promoting, but she gets that additional 3,598 because she has a master's degree, and so there's a 5% increase. So basically, I'm just taking her, making what she's making already, putting her in that supervisory position, but I have to increase that position to what she was making, and then I'm taking that position she was in before, reducing it and hiring a first-year officer at a much reduced rate, and that's where our savings are, so.
Well explained. Maybe you can teach Jim to do that.
Is that the usual cost of a new officer?
That's what the state mandates, that for a first-year officer is making 38, yes.
All right, thank you very much. Any
I make a motion.
motion? Second, further discussion on the Form 144, roll call, please.
Andy Bozak.
Yes.
Mike Brickner.
Yes.
Sylvia Graham.
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Mike Jessup.
Yes.
Fred Stone. Greg
Yes.
Sims.
Yes.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Zero.
Right corner, looks like there's a, looks like a grant, the sudden unexplained infant death and sudden death in young grant fund, additional $9,000 from other equipment, reason grant awarded by SUID, SDY from the Indiana State Department of Health.
Second.
Motion second on the floor, any discussion? Roll call.
Hey, I did have one question on this grant right here. Is there any additional work that you have to do? I was just reading through the grant on how you have to send stuff. You probably, I don't know if you have to send stuff out all the time or no.
The reason I get the grant is because I put together a child fatality review team in Porter County that is mandated by the state. They're hoping to get every county involved. You can either do it regional or your own county, and so we have meetings. We try to have like quarterly meetings, and we just review deaths in the
And the
county.
blood samples you send down.
For like, and try to do prevention and stuff, yeah.
I was just curious. Thank you.
Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mike Brickner.
Yes.
Sylvia Graham.
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Mike Jessup.
Yes.
Fred Stone.
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Andy Bozak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cindy, thank you.
Assessor, General Fund, Form 144, 0 to $45,402. Assessment Specialist 3, 8 to 12 at $45,402. Then there's $44,890 to 0. Assessment Specialist 2, 4 to 0 at $44,890. Reason, no additional needed for the 4 at 512, which equals the $2,048 increase for the change of the 4 assessment specialists to assessment 3 specialists. WIS has them all in the same job description.
I'll make the motion.
I second it.
Motion, second, discussion?
I don't understand it. Who you go?
Basically, what we're trying to do, of all of our deputies, we'd like to get them, the intention when the WIS wage study happened, the intention was to get our folks all at the same level. They get different pays when it comes to their certification levels. Level 2s and 3s get additional funds, but what we're really trying to do is get everyone at the same level. That was the intention in the very beginning with this wage study. All of our deputies have the same job description. And so basically, I just want to get them all at the same level. That's 5 people that we're adding $500 to. That would also save with the status change that we have to
Sometimes somebody leaves, we have to
submit.
do like 3 status changes because for $500, 3 different
As
people
we're
have to
moving
change.
I think it's
people.
great, thank you.
We've had open positions, so there's no additional money needed.
If they were the same positions, why wasn't that identified in the Wagner?
It was.
It was. So
was,
we're
and it
not
came
sure
back all
why
the
the
same.
money, why we ended up with so many different salaries. They should all be at one level. I can't explain that. I wasn't in this position at that time.
So if we made this decision, we'd be going against what the study recommended, but we don't know why the study recommended it. Is that
Just the wage part, the actual job description came back the same for all of them. It was just when they did the wages and the way that they did them,
I heard Mike Jessens contacted him, maybe we could ask that question.
Yeah, that'd be a great question to ask.
Well-
Maybe the highway department got screwed up too,
Maybe.
some of their
Well,
money.
it was kind of weird how they did it, but yeah, we just want to make them, it'd be easier for us when somebody leaves, especially like this year. We've had 3 positions open, so every single time that happens, 3 other people have to have, so I have to do that for 3 people, then the auditor's office has to actually adjust 3 people. So just, it's a lot for $500.
So you're paying everybody at the highest level? 3?
We're paying everyone at one level. Then, if they're a level 2, they get a stipend that's paid out of our reassessment fund. If they're a level 3, they
So
get.
then they get more?
Correct,
Based on their certification, which makes sense.
based on their certification levels.
I like it, this is nice.
And we talked about that last year, about increasing some salaries by incentivizing people to get more certifications, or.
Right.
Oh, my God, I can't speak today. Yeah,
No, you're right though, Andy, I agree.
what?
Can't speak to that, I don't know.
I don't know. You
Further
can't listen, I can't
discussion?
speak, I don't know what it is.
Seeing none, can we get a roll call on the 144 changes?
Sylvia Graham.
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Mike Chesson.
Yes.
Fred Stone.
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Andy Bozak. Mike Brickner.
Yes.
7-0.
And this is to do the same thing, complement another reassessment fund, Form 144, 0 to $45,402, assessment specialist 3, and $44,890 to 0, assessment specialist 2.
Right.
Just
We
one-
have just one position in that, out of that
Paid out
fund.
of that.
I'll make the motion.
I second it, Mike.
Motion second, discussion, roll call please for 144.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Mike Chesson.
Yes.
Fred Stone.
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Andy Bozak.
Oh, he left.
Oh. Mike Brickner.
Indisposed.
Yes.
Sylvia Graham.
Yes.
Passes, all right, we're good.
Thank you.
Recycling and waste reduction. There's another Form 144, $36,500 to $40,500. Assistant to director. Recycling and waste reduction is, board is requesting a $4,000 raise increase instead of the supplement, retroactive 1/1/2023.
So instead of the $4,000 stipend, this was done in the wage study. This is really interesting. It was just never reported. So this position was not on the final report. So in order to compensate, because it was on the lower level, the stipend was given, the $4,000. So the board had requested if we could just make it, instead of giving him the $4,000 stipend, we would just raise the salary to the $40,500.
Was that from the wage study, 40,500, or was the wage study at 36,500?
The wage-
Because once you get, or stipend's a one-time deal, the $4,000 raise is gonna keep going on in perpetuity.
Correct, right. So in comparison, all of the processes were done through the wage study, but in the final report, this position was excluded from the final wage report. So if you look at it and look up the recycling, there is no administrative assistant in our department. So how the auditor's office, the discussion was that that person would be granted the $4,000 stipend. Currently, that stipend has not been paid out to this position. So it is still at the $36,500 salary.
So a stipend
How did you
is
arrive at the
here.
40,500?
We did a comparison of the 20%. So when we were evaluating the numbers that were based off of last year, we were looking at, and we compared to other administrative assistants across the county positions and those same level positions, and they were up a higher number, but we realized without having to do additional appropriations and whatnot, we already had the 4,000 compensated within the stipend that was already allocated for our budget for 2023. So,
Is this a new position?
no,
This has always been.
correct. Yep,
And this money comes out of your budget, not the general fund, correct?
absolutely, correct.
Yeah, so it won't hit the general fund.
It is strictly a Form 144 change just to level up the salary.
Oh, and Greg, I agree with that, but I'll tell you, the problem I have with that thought is, it's all taxpayer money. I mean, I know,
It is.
like,
And
you
you
know,
just
and
had a
I'm not,
Sure.
you know, the $20 the taxpayer pays, and that's kind of what I see looking through these budgets is, there, you know, there's certain budgets that, oh, well, it's a fee-based budget. Well, it seems like these people always make a little bit more than some of these other people, so, you know, I just think we gotta get away from that. Well, it's, you know, that's not gonna take away from us, so yeah, let them do what they want, so. It's just kind of strange to me, like I said, instead of the stipend, if the lady is owed the stipend, then she absolutely deserves a stipend, in my opinion, but to just say arbitrarily, hey, you know what, we got the money, let's just give her $4,000 and keep going, I don't know, that's.
Not at all. It was more based off the fact of being a comparison that wage, if you compare it to other administrative assistants, that wage would have had a increase last year, and it was capped at the 20%. So it would have been in line to keep raising that salary up.
So
So
Carrie,
the
you're saying,
stipend is gone.
Correct. Yeah,
you're saying at the 40,500, that's lower than other
Correct.
administrative
Yes.
assistants
correct.
throughout the county?
And that line, I can't recall right off the top because I don't have her job description with me, whether it's yes, the class, correct. So,
And the board was unanimously in support
yeah,
of this?
absolutely. We presented this to our board of directors, and our board of directors had suggested that we could come forward and bring this up, so.
So it was overlooked, that's what I'm stating. This was not.
From the wage study, absolutely.
The wage, so this person was not a new employee, this was an overlook.
Correct.
In the wage study.
Correct, absolutely. If you go through it, we actually filled out all of the paperwork, did all of the steps, and our part-time office administrative assistant was listed in the wage final study, not the full-time salary-based staff member.
Because, I mean, it's, like I said, the way it's written like this, I mean, I couldn't vote for this.
So,
Unless I get more information out
yeah,
of it.
there's a 144 in front of you, change to try to take the stipend to a raise. It hasn't been paid out yet, so there's no
Was this your
money back or anything.
documentation showing?
That is our listing from what it was, yeah, correct. So that is actually from the 2022 salary ordinance, where it shows that the posting of each line that was approved by the budget for last year.
And again, I'm not.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want-
that's
hey,
all
I want-
good.
If she's owed
So,
it.
oh, she's phenomenal. She would,
I want her to
Yeah,
take it. Just
of
the way-
course.
The way it was wrote just didn't jive well. I
Okay.
couldn't understand how it was.
okay. We were trying to make it simple, so I apologize for
No,
the, yeah.
I appreciate
Sure,
that, but
yeah.
again, it just seems like the self-funded funds just kind of,
Oh, no, not at all. We were comparing them across to the other assistants throughout the county, different positions, and looked at it, and she's on the lower side, significantly lower.
What is this board's pleasure?
I'll make the motion.
You made a motion?
Yep.
Second.
Motion a second to approve?
Yes.
Motion a second to approve the change from a $4,000 stipend to a raise. Further discussion? We get a roll call.
Mike Jessup.
Yes.
Red Stone.
no.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Andy Bozak. Mike Brickner.
Yes.
Sylvia Graham.
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
No.
5-0 passes. Or 5-2 passes.
5-2, all right. So, There you have it. You're good.
Thank
Parks and
you.
Recreation.
Good night, thank you.
Park General Fund.
Jeremy?
Yes,
I was
sir.
just going to make a comment. This seems like, I can't remember, but it's like the second department that's had some issues with the wage study. I mean, I'm just going to make a suggestion. I think we pay a lot of money for this wage study, and it seems like they've missed a couple of things. Would this be worth maybe making contact with them to kind of go over? It was a monumental task, don't get me wrong. I'm sure that there was a lot of information, but it seems like there are a couple things that we're having to deal with here at this level now because of some missed or omitted job descriptions or job positions, and I don't know if it's worth to maybe reach out and say,
Do it
maybe have a
once over.
conversation with them.
I
and-
agree with you, Mike. I was thinking the same thing, because like I said, I didn't want to, but it just didn't make sense to me. And if the wage study missed it, whether it was a stipend or the raise, I don't know, because I wasn't here for the wage study, but maybe they need to do a cursory review of all the positions, because we definitely don't want to miss if someone's
I think
owed
there's a
something.
second department that we've dealt with today that,
Sure, department heads have caught this last year, though. They had all the information. I mean, I'm not busting anybody out, and that doesn't mean anything to you, but it seems to me
well, I
that
think they
that's their
presented
job.
it, I think they gave it to them, but unless I'm wrong, it sounds like the department heads gave them the information, but it was somehow missed.
Right, but
That's
when they're
what-
reviewing the salaries,
Oh, okay.
this should have
Well-
been caught before, I mean, for anyone that was in that role.
You want me to comment on it? I did. I actually did. I brought it to Rhonda's attention and I brought it, but the wage study was released to us about a week before the final budget meeting. So it was told, wait a second, it's already wrapped up, it's in it, you'll have to approach it next year. No, yeah, absolutely. So, because we realized, we were trying to figure out why a part-time office staff would be accounted in the wage study and a full-time wasn't. So we were trying to address it, so, yeah.
And I don't know if they do like a follow-up, because there was a lot of information that they were trying to process, I'm sure, but that was an investment that we made with them, just to
Maybe bring it up to
maybe
their
come back,
attention and
just kind of
do
look
a
at some of
cursory
these
review.
things.
I'm sure that, I mean,
Well, I think part of,
Sylvia said every department would want to come back.
That's why I'm gonna.
I don't have them do it, just
Say that,
double check and
yeah,
just
we're
make sure.
Just ask for a
Yeah.
refund. We want 2%.
There have been issues brought up since that was done, and I think it was through the coroner's office had some questions, and we had addressed that. The sheriff's department had some issues, and we addressed that. So it was far less than perfect. I mean, it's a very engaged process where you need to have communication between them and the department heads and what ultimately could be an HR department if we had one, to cover some of those issues. So I think we've handled, bits and pieces of them along the way. Now, there still may be some out there, but I wouldn't suggest to say, let's do a cursory overview of all of it and open that process back up, because it'd be a monumental
I definitely would
task.
say open it up. I'm just saying have them internally just make sure to see if they've made any, if there's any errors that they could see themselves. Hey, yep, we did.
And
forget this
as
one.
we
And
talked
the department
about-
head should be doing that as well, just.
And as we look at the highway department, we say, is that mechanics wage? I have a hard time
What were
believing.
they making before? If this is their raise, what were they making before? That's
Yeah, I
what I'd
can't-
like to know.
So there's
I guess I
some,
could find it out,
there's
but-
still some ongoing questions that should be asked and answered by WIS. And the department heads can call. Rhonda has called, called them to clarify things. And there may still be some things to clean up or kind of level set relative to the study. But, I mean, that was a monumental task.
Mike, it was huge.
It's
Right,
not surprising there's a few
I don't
issues that
suggest
need to be
that you have
cleaned
to
up.
come in and just do a redo, but just maybe, speak to some of the department heads and.
I would like to think by now, any department head that has an issue similar to this has brought it forward. I mean, it's,
Yeah, but if there's a department head that, I mean, let's face it,
if there's any question that anybody has about their job description as it relates to their salary recommendation, then that should be, bring it up. I mean,
agree.
And they have every right to do that, and that may mean that the job description changes, or it may mean the salary recommendation changes, or the classification changes. And there's ways to make adjustments. I mean, it's far less than a perfect system.
Agree.
All right, so we're running behind schedule. Parks and Rec.
This is general.
Ryan, 43,000, there's a Parks and Rec additional $43,968 in salaries. Reason, additional need to cover the cost of the new maintenance repair supervisor and reclassification of the horticulturalist. You're asking for a new employee here? Is that what
Yeah, so.
I'm seeing here?
Yeah, so
Right
what
off
it
the rip?
is, now we have a horticulturalist/operations manager. So we have one guy that is overseeing all the resource management for our 700-plus acres of land management that we have under our umbrella, plus our 50-plus facilities and structures that we have under management across the county, not to mention the help that we do to highway with mowing the north and south garages, not to mention the 22 miles of trails that we either help maintain or maintain in its entirety. And at one point, that was 2 positions. We had a park manager that worked as a park supervisor, maintenance supervisor, and a horticulturalist, which is basically a natural resource management. So that's all the conservation, the restoration, trail maintenance, all the landscape architectural type work, and then the maintenance supervisor for keeping up the equipment, the vehicles, the buildings, the groundskeeping, and then running the actual maintenance crews. Those were 2 positions at one point. The park manager at the time left. Those positions and responsibilities were consolidated on the then horticulturalist, which is now our horticulturalist operations manager, and it is simply too much for one person to try to hold under one umbrella. The worlds of resource management and maintenance are so wildly different, you can't have them under one umbrella, and you can't effectively do both. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the maintenance responsibilities, maintenance supervision, away from the current horticulturalist to make a maintenance supervisor, so I can reclassify the horticulturalist back to a true horticulturalist position, so I can focus on resource management properly and maintenance and the upkeep of our facilities properly. And that's the goal of what that is. So that's why there's the reclassification, because I am taking responsibilities away from one, so it can refocus, realign, and then creating another position.
Why didn't you do that for the budget this year?
We didn't get it done in time. I hadn't completed this until January.
That would be my one concern, that
Yeah.
it's February. I mean, do it for next year.
Spring.
Yeah, I had.
Would that hurt you if that was done?
It would hurt us quite a bit. We're already falling behind a lot. Brinkley Cross is in bad shape. A lot of our facilities in
Can you hire
Sunset
hourly?
Hill are in bad shape.
Hourly? Hire hourly to help? Instead of been doing full-time right now and see how this year works out?
Now, the reason I'm doing this now is because I have an hourly employee right now. Now, that's also the second part of that 144 is our hourly cap in the general fund is capped at $13.50, and you can't find help for $13.50.
Yeah.
So I do want to bump that up to 19 as part of that to retain and recruit better staff. But part of the timing is now I've got somebody on staff right now that if we approve this today, he will be full-time Monday, and we can start addressing things now. If I wait until budget season, I put money down, I don't have him, and then I can't fill that position for 6-7 months probably. I've got somebody now that I can put into it that's good at what he does, but at $13.50, I will not keep him until October, November.
I don't mind doing the 19, but like I said, February, I'm not trying to be grouchy, but man, I'm just done with.
I would just I think our parks have been unfortunately neglected for several years. And you inherited, from what I've seen, a soup sandwich with the parks. But again, a new employee this time of the year, I think, in my opinion, you're going to have to maybe get through this year. I think we talked about, guarding this, our funding. I'm not saying you don't need the position or it wouldn't help you, but, we're here to support, the parks, and I think that we need to really look at improving our park system. I think you're the right person for the position. It's just it's a little challenging to be getting a brand-new employee this early in the year. Putting it out there, sharing with the group.
How much, Jake, how much room do you have in your hourly? I mean, is that I know you want to increase the hourly rate, which makes all the sense in the world. How big
Yes.
is that budget, or are there
So
dollars to use there?
Yeah, so I do have, and that was part of what I wanted to have kind of the open conversation. I do have some money to do the planned raises to get us more competitive, not necessarily be up to the full 19. But I did have money in the general fund that I was willing to give up to go towards the salary, so it's not such a big hit on the general fund. So we do have the ability to move some money around from our hourly account into the salary account to kind of offset some of that 42,000.
So there's extra in that hourly account, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
What they had last year, a lot of it, we pull that up and see what we had last year in hourly.
Hold on a sec.
Even with, you're thinking even if you raise, and I'm sorry, the agenda doesn't have, you're asking for up to $19 an hour on both the general fund and the park operating fund. So we missed that on the agenda, guys, so he's asking for a 144 change on the parks general fund hourly up to $19 an hour. So if you do that and you're saying you still, even if you hired somebody with that increased hourly, that you're gonna have extra money in your hourly?
No, if I don't move that position out, if I don't move the guy I've got on staff into the full-time position, then I don't have any extra. Then that extra was only gonna be there by converting an existing part-time staff to full-time. Then I could use that no longer needed part of the hourly to go towards that salary, to reduce some of the impact on the general fund.
I have no problem going from 13, 15 to 19 myself personally. I mean, everybody.
If we don't do something,
Oh,
we're
no, I
gonna start
agree. I
losing staff.
100% agree with you.
Right, we're working really hard.
I mean, I've had 2 people quit this month.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, the $19 or whatever you think. I would agree with that. It just.
All right, so.
Each employee have an issue with it.
So one thing at a time, right now, we got the additional salary of $43,968, which is the additional person to cover the new maintenance and repair supervisor and the reclassification of.
And did you say, Jake, that you have the hourly in the Parks General Fund could that pay the full boat of this new position?
It would cover, I could cover between 15 and 20,000 of that new position. If we were to just take its existing, what is allocated towards it hourly, and move it to the general fund.
So you'd still be short?
I'd still be short, yeah.
My concern is you almost spent all the hourly last year, and that's at the 1350, so now you're gonna go to 90. You only had 3,300, didn't I read that right, $3,300 left?
Yeah, we'd used a little bit of their general fund to cover some of the operating. We pay employees out of both the general and our operating, and the operating is our non-reverting, so that's the revenue that we generate.
So I'm concerned about the 19, if you could cover that.
Right, and I wouldn't be able to move everybody up to 19, it wouldn't cover 19, but it gives us the ability to get more competitive.
And I'm not against it, but I just wanna make sure that you're not back in front of us in 6 months.
Yeah.
Great.
Hey, Jake, I do have
Absolutely.
I do have a question for you. Would this, by any chance, I did talk about Sunset Hill. Would this have any effect on Sunset Hill as far as a full-time, part-time with all the programming we do out there?
Yep, yeah, absolutely.
Because I know, I talked to you in depth about the programming.
Yeah, and absolutely, I've got some numbers here too. Right now, our camp is sitting at 651 kids, but we are limited in what we can do because our staffing is the biggest hindrance. If we can push through what we're going for here now, I will open that up to 800 kids next summer. And that immediately covers most of what I'm asking for, almost overnight.
Is that a free camp?
No, it is a paid-for camp.
And we've actually
But you do scholarships though too. So
We do
I mean,
do
it's pretty-
scholarships.
you guys, I know you
Right,
guys
that's
are very
our
helpful
foundation.
with getting anybody who really wants to come can.
Yep.
Yeah, so we do have.
Yeah, and we would love to increase the numbers, we just can't, we don't have the,
Well,
we
we're
don't have
gonna,
the
yeah,
manpower.
hopefully we can.
I mean,
you know.
we're actually turning people away, and they're upset.
Yeah, there's what, 80, there's
They
what,
can't.
20, almost 100 kids you turned away, right?
Yep, yeah.
Yeah, we've
So-
got,
Quite a few.
and just to show kind of how popular that was, we opened reservations for camp registration at 8 a.m. By 9:30, all 8 weeks, all 80 slots were full in double-digit wait lists.
If you did hire this additional person, would you be able to get them 100 kids back into the program now, or would that be done? Is it too late now, or is it?
I think we're kind of comparing apples and oranges, aren't we?
It would be, It would be tough, but it would give us the option to do that if I think we could handle it this year. Certainly, it would allow us to get closer to the 85, 90 a week and get us into that realm. The 100 kids, I do think is going to have to wait until.
I mean, like I said, I told you, I make no bones about it. I think Sunset Hill's a jewel that can really be.
Yeah, and our visitation last year was 151,000 cars went through Sunset Hill last year.
And I think previously, there was no growth. We want to grow. There was no growth before, so we were kind of stagnant. And now that we've seen what we can potentially do, and Jake and I are working toward that, it's difficult to do that without, going from, I mean, this is back from 2015, I think, is what our budget stayed at until now.
Oh, I think your budget's,
Yeah,
yeah.
and we've
it's
done phenomenal
skinny.
with, bubble gum and Scotch tape, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and that's
So now
my-
here we are asking, for help.
And that's part of the reason I'm pushing for this position now at such a bad timing. I'll be honest, the timing is poor. Because I've got the guy that I know can do it on staff now, but if I can't get him health insurance and a decent pay and benefits, he's gone in 6 months. And then I'm back to square one, and I don't know if I can find him again. So I want to make sure that I can get him full-time, because then I know I can keep him for the next 5, 10 years, and we can get this place going in a fantastic direction.
Let me ask you, Jake,
Yep.
so, because I'm a little bit uncertain, so you're asking for a new maintenance repair supervisor?
Yes.
And are you saying that somehow, some way helps you in your programming? I mean,
Yeah.
because I guess if you were to hire one additional person in the department, is it the maintenance repair supervisor you need, or is it a program person you need, or?
Yeah, so it would, to me, it's definitely the maintenance supervisor, because the maintenance supervisor also keeps up our equipment, our tractors, our hayride equipment, and that is who our program director will coordinate through for tractor rides for Meet the Animals,
Those kind of.
weekend work, yeah, when we have big programs. They're on staff and overtime when we have these big department-wide events. So they are vital to assisting and helping those programs as well. As well as maintaining, the buildings and the spaces that they use for that.
And if we can keep them happy, they continue to open up themselves to the rest of the programs, and they're, because if not, they're going to go, why should I do that extra, when they're not paying me to do that, when we're not getting any recognition. So we're kind of working against ourselves if we don't get that.
And it allows us to refocus the horticulturalists too, that way we can do more nature-based hikes at Brinket Cross, more nature hikes at Sunset Hill. We can actually regrow and reestablish our community garden and more of our farmhands programs as well. We can explore more things in the harvest season, the farming seasons, if I've got somebody that can really focus on that area, who's not getting drug away because now the tractor's broken, we got wagon rides in an hour. Or the AC went out in the PC building and now I have to move a 20-person recreation class that's booked solid to a new building. Or it solves a lot of problems for us that we're currently facing.
Now, have you had the opportunity to kind of forecast out over the next 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 or 5 years in terms of if you can wave your magic wand to say you need this position first, it sounds like, and then what would, is it a program person that would be next, or to grow the program like you want to grow it? Have you kind of had a chance to outline all that?
Yeah, so this is step one, and then step two is I've got a part-time communications coordinator who's also doing events and rentals, and a big part of our third-party outreach and program growth for, the festivals, trunk or treats, the winter lights, working with the, performers and things like that. I need to make that is going to be the second full-time position that we make, because that's currently 2 part-time positions, of which I've tried to hire 3 of the 1, and none of them have ever showed back up. So I've tasked both out on the 1 part-time. That would be the second full-time position, and then I think once that's created, we're in a good spot.
How many people you think, like Sunset Hill, how many people visit that a year? I mean, 150,000 cars a year, but I mean, what's your overall programming numbers, you think?
So I got a little bit of some numbers here. So the Sunset Hill nature programs alone from 2022 that we were able to count through our counter, we had almost 1,000 people come to our nature programs alone. We had parks and schools in 2022, towards the end of it, we had 336. We are already up over 500 on that right now in just this first couple months of 2023. So we're already about to eclipse last year's numbers. Wellness programs, we have over 4,000 participants a year in our wellness programs. And then not to mention, the traffic counter is kind of skewed because it won't pick up all the kids on a school bus. It'll read the school bus. It won't read the 30, 40 kids on the school bus that are there, or it won't read the fact that the 3 school buses is 100 kids coming in for a program. So it's,
Include the Christmas lights in those numbers?
yeah, and then there's actually a,
Skew it too, though, the other.
yeah, there's actually a calculation that it goes through that it divides everything by half that way, or by 2 that way, yeah, because if a car sits there too long, it'll read it twice. So yeah, the system accounts for the
Again, I'm just going to share with the group that I think he makes a great point, and I think that we need to challenge this council, we need to challenge ourselves to really look at this our parks department budget, and we're on the same page. We want the same thing. We have a new superintendent that, is ready to take, I think, the parks to the level they need to be, but I'm still struggling hiring a new employee in February. And I'm saying you don't need a new employee, and you make a great presentation for the need for it, but I'm just going to say that I think that the timing is a little tough. We're focusing on raises. We have a lot of things going on, and right now, I just don't know if now is the time for this council to approve adding an employee to the payroll right now. Full-time anyway. Again, it's just my thoughts, and it's nothing against Jake at all and what he's trying to do there. And you know what, but I think that us as a council are really we need to work together to help you succeed and with our park system, because like I said before, it unfortunately has been, I think, sorely neglected for too long, and that should be one of our goals, is to make our parks, I mean, that's a quality of life issue as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely.
What, Ryan, what's the hourly budgeted for 2023?
For the general?
Yeah, for the general.
Right here. Hourly, 161.
161,000 hourly?
That's what they got.
Yep.
161,224.
What?
2,000 hours times $20 an hour, 40 grand. You can hire, I don't know how many you hire hourly though, but $19 an hour. Gives you a little bit of.
And going back, they spent most all their hourly last year?
Yeah, we had used the general funds hourly account to float some of the operating hourly expenses for camp counselors for camp, because we had to get extra staff. The 20,000 I'm asking for in that account ensures I don't have to do that again. And then we'll open camp up to 100 kids, and that'll self-sustain that. So that 20,000 into the non-reverting is a one-time ask. We'll make that money ourselves next year.
Gotcha.
So that won't be a reoccurring line item that we'll ask for.
And you're saying, though, that you could save money because one of the hourly guys is somebody you would want to hire in this position, so that would free up?
Yep.
What you're estimating is $20,000?
I would initially bump, because I only have 4 other part-time maintenance crew, so I would bump them all up to that $16, $17 an hour range to make their wages competitive. And they do the job because they love it, so the pay's not the ultimate thing, but it is important. You've got to be able to pay your bills at the end of the day. So we wouldn't go up to the cap, and through not using the full cap, I do give myself a little bit of buffer in that account.
When you said that you were gonna take this 20,000, if we appropriated that money tonight, it would not be in your budget, so it would be in your budget.
Yep.
So will remain there. It's not just a one-time thing, is my point.
That's the non-reverting fund, so unless I ask for it again next year, it would come directly out of our receipts account. It wouldn't come out of the general fund.
All right, it's been a little while staring at this one. What's the pleasure of the council on the additional person for the $43,968? Is there one? Is there a motion on the additional? I'm not hearing one, so that would cover the same thing for the 144 then. If there's no, I'm gathering that there's going to be no motion on the floor for the 144 change because that has to do with the salary. Creating the new position. Am I wrong? Is there a motion on the floor for either the additional or 144?
Unless you're gonna do up to 19.
Seeing none of those two, there's also the hourly that they were requesting up to $19 per hour.
Motion.
Second.
There's a motion and a bunch of seconds to adjust the Form 144 in the general fund hourly up to $19 per hour. That missed the agenda. Madam Auditor Ryan, you guys good with that then? So there's a motion and a second on the floor to adjust the Park General Fund 144 hourly up to $19 per hour. Can we get a roll call on that?
Red Stone?
Yes.
Greg Sims?
Yes.
Andy Bozak?
Yes.
Mike Brickner?
Yes.
Sylvia Graham?
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas?
Yes.
Mike Jessen?
Yes.
7-0.
Parks Operating Fund additional $20,000 hourly, $1,530 to FICA, reason appropriation needed to pay hourly and seasonal employees. This is out of the Parks Operating Fund. Motion on the floor,
You wanna
second.
go on down with it, or?
No, she wants them separate on the additionals for the roll
Okay.
calls. Any further discussion on the additional? Can we get a roll call on the hourly and FICA additional?
Greg Sims?
Yes.
Andy Bozak?
Yes.
Mike Brickner?
Yes.
Sylvia Graham?
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas?
Yes.
Mike Jessen?
Yes.
Red Stone?
Yes.
7-0.
Additional $16,000 to other equipment, reason to appropriate reimbursement money received in August 2022.
Motion.
Motion is second on the floor. Discussion. Roll call.
Mike Brickner?
Yes.
Sylvia Graham?
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas?
Yes.
Mike Jessen?
Yes.
Red Stone?
Yes.
Greg Sims?
Yes.
Andy Bozak?
Yes.
7-0.
The transfer, $30,350 from event expenses to other equipment. The reason transfer needed for department functions, purchasing of new capital assets.
Motion.
Second.
There's a motion, a couple seconds on the transfer. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor of the transfer of $30,350, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. 144 hourly, up to $19 per hour. Same thing, to attain and retain sufficient staffing and reduce turnover.
Motion.
Motion is second on the floor to change the 144 in the operating fund to $19, up to $19 per hour. Motion second, discussion, roll call.
Jeremy Rivas?
Yes.
Mike Jessen?
Yes.
Red Stone?
Yes.
Greg Sims?
Yes.
Andy Bozak? Mike Brickner?
Yes.
Sylvia Graham?
Yes.
7-0.
That's it.
But Jake, I'd like to just say that I think hopefully you can appreciate the what sounds like the flavor or the consensus of the council that we want what you want relative to the development of the parks.
Yeah,
And-
absolutely.
And I believe you're on the right track, and with your thinking and what you two are doing. And so I congratulate you on that, and I have more confidence in the future of the Parks Department now than I've ever had.
Well, thank you for
So I
that.
want you to.
I read your master.
We appreciate
I
that
read your
a great
master
deal.
plan, and I will tell you, I concur with what Mike said.
Thank
I'm
you.
very excited, especially with some parks coming up with some things you want to do, so
We're excited.
I'm very excited.
We're excited about where
We've
we're
got a lot of
going.
good things going to happen, so we're excited.
Great, so thank you very
We
much.
appreciate the support, we really do.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you.
Remember that's our budget this year.
I will. Portage Township Assessor, we had a table item, reassessment fund, additional $5,952 to dues and subscriptions. Reason, appropriation needed to pay subscription to CoStar, which provides information and sales for commercial and industrial properties for appeals.
We tackled this last one.
We tabled it.
My question was,
Wasn't able to make
why
it.
aren't we using the one, because we already paid for it with Sue's office. Why don't we
Because
use-
they're very strict, you can't share it, the license. And, I mean, I can go there and use it, but the problem is, it's on one computer, and it's on the employee's computer that they work on all day. So I can't just go sit there and all day, because I do thorough research for my appeals to get evidence. So I can't sit there all day and take their time away from their work.
How often do you do this per year?
But about all year long, because when I get.
5 times, 10 times, 20 times, once a week?
I do it almost every day because of the fact that I have industrial appeals, like for U.S. Steel. It's helped me with U.S. Steel. I have an appeal with them right now. This helps with office buildings, and I have another one I've worked on is Rittenhouse.
But every day, all day you work on these?
Well, if I have to take time out, there's more than one commercial property. So I do a ton of research to make sure I have the correct evidence to present to them, because either I'm going to settle, make changes, or ask to withdraw. But I have to have evidence for this. And sometimes it's hard to come up with it. And they provide the sales comps more than I can find it.
What were you doing prior?
Exactly.
Why is this now an issue? That's why wasn't it in the budget? I mean, it's worked for years, right? Or is this a new software that you need access?
Now, I asked a couple years ago, but was denied it, because the county has it, but like I said, I can't share it. And,
Would it be
well,
cheaper to buy a separate computer and just let that be on a separate computer rather than a shared workstation?
right, that I have to go to county for that.
No, I mean,
Yeah, I'd like to
You know.
direct a comment to Assessor Neff and ask her, not to put her on the spot, but ask her if she sees the value in the Portage Township Assessor having the subscription that she's asking for.
Well, they're contractual, so,
Not a big budget.
Can you hear her? Okay.
She really uses it only 5 or 7 times a year. That's how often we use it. But when we use it, of course, it's better than valuable. I'm certain that it would be valuable for Alta as well.
So if the data is, from your perspective, data is invaluable and important to run the office, I'll make the motion for the additional.
Motion on the floor.
Second.
Second. Discussion. Roll call on the additional.
Mike Jessen.
Yes.
Red Stone.
Yes.
Greg Sims.
No.
Andy Bozak.
Yes.
Mike Brickner.
Yes.
Sylvia Graham.
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
6-1.
It was a resounding no.
Absolutely it was.
Deep no.
It's a waste of money.
No.
Absolute waste
So,
of money.
All right, thank you. Tourism.
Taxpayer dollars?
All of them are. Opera, I will tell you up here. Additional $72,450 of salaries, $5,542 to FICA, $19,376 to medical life insurance, $8,114 to PERF, $1,250 to longevity, reason appropriation needed to cover the increases in salaries adjusted after 2023 budget adoption. I was told if I don't hurry up, I'm in trouble.
Go for it.
So Jeremy, these have been approved, you just have to get the additionals.
Yes, we were discussing that earlier. Yes, this is what we did at, when we approved the salary ordinance, but we figured that you'd have to come back.
I have
for
a motion to
the
approve.
addition.
Second.
Motion is second on the first additionals. Discussion. Can we get a roll call on those additionals?
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Mike Jessen.
Yes.
Red Stone.
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Andy Bozak. Mike Brickner.
Yes.
Sylvia Graham.
Yes.
7-0.
1,000 to contractual services, an additional new contract solidified after budget adoption.
I just have a, sorry.
Second.
Motion is second on the floor. Discussion.
I just have a question. In your budget, you have 15,000 for contractual attorney.
Yeah, so his contract ended in December, or ended at the end of December, so we renegotiated it in December, and the board decided to give him a $1,000 increase, and that was after the budget.
Okay. I'm just, there's a $2 million budget. I mean, I'm just saying I wouldn't have came up for $1,000. I mean, I would have told the lawyer, stay at 50. I know they gave him a raise, right?
They haven't given him a raise for several years, so.
Several years, but.
Yeah, so it was just the board decided to give him a $1,000 raise in December when the contract was negotiated for the next 3 years, so that was, and it was already after the budget.
An attorney sitting right next to you to do it for free.
Yeah.
We have 3 or 4 attorneys on the board.
We do. So this is actually our paid attorney.
We're heavy on attorneys.
Motion and second. Can I ask which attorney? That will decide my
No.
vote. No?
No,
All right.
Hollenbeck.
This one.
All right.
It's definitely not this one.
not me.
All right, can we get a roll call on the additional?
Jocelyn.
Yes.
Red Stone.
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Andy Bozak. Mike Brickner.
Yes.
Sylvia Graham.
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
No.
Azouding.
I don't like attorneys. I mean,
I like
I'm kidding. I like Harold.
7-0.
Harold knows that there's,
I don't like attorneys either. They cause most of my problems.
That was just for fun.
yeah.
You had the votes. It was just for fun, right? All right, Form 144, $57,761 to $60,000. Senior Operations Director. Reason increase of $2,239 for Senior Operations Director.
Motion.
Second.
Motion second on the floor, discussion. Is this something we also did, or is this something new?
This person had more time in and does a lot more work, and when you moved everybody, you moved them all equally. We just felt like this one should get.
well, and this person actually has a staff under them. So it was just one of those things that was a misclassification.
So you're
this is-
you're saying this is a pay increase?
It is.
$2,200 and some dollars.
Was that a new position?
No.
It's not a new position, no. So it's
Is
the
there a new
senior.
position asked for?
No, this is just an increase. I believe what they're saying is we bumped some other people up.
Right, no, I get that. I just knew there was 5 and then 6, and so it must have what happened in 2022. Was there a new position?
No, so this is a current position that when it was classified, and it was one of those situations where, and I think we contributed to the problem. So when we sent in our.
Never get that. I'm not your attorney, but.
No, when you looked at our org chart, this person should have been up one line, and they have staff under them where the other staff members do not. So we thought for sure that they were just going to catch that, and they didn't. So it was just, this person has a lot more responsibility than where they classified them.
So they're making their own adjustment right now. I mean, this is what they feel that this person is valued at right now after we went through everything last year. So was there a motion? There was a motion and a second on the floor. Further discussion? Seeing none, can we get a roll call on this 144?
Red Stone.
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Andy Bozak. Yes. Mike Brickner.
Yes.
Sylvia Graham.
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
No.
Mike Jessen.
Yes.
Were you serious this time?
Yeah,
Okay.
he was. Okay, thank you.
I do have one question for you guys. Is there any interest in putting on the fireworks out at the dunes by chance? I was thinking about Maura Durham called me, and there's probably about, 15,000 people from Porter County that actually go out there every year. They handle it for 10 years, and they kind of came out of their business plan, and just, if you're interested.
So when you look at it from the county perspective, there's a lot of special events that go on, so it's kind of hard to start to pick which ones you're going to specifically put on. We have a grant program, so that's where we would normally have them go, so it's an opportunity, so I would just encourage whoever's doing it to put a grant in, but that is outside of what we do. We don't actually do event planning.
Well, that's what I'm saying. No, it's outside of everybody's purview. I'm just thinking if you have some people that would want to get involved doing it, it might be a good opportunity to, show off the dunes.
Yeah.
Lots of people go there. It's,
No, and
for the bike program. I'm just spitballing here, so just keep it.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean.
Yeah,
a lot
let's
of
shoot
people love
all
it.
that debris in our lake. Sounds like a great plan.
You don't have to shoot it in the lake. Pick it up, right?
Great, thank you
All
guys.
right, thank you.
Have a good night.
All right, adult probation. Is this another reduction? Perfect.
Starts out that way.
$3,762 to salaries. Reduction to the general fund to correspond to the additional grant funding received for 2023.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion second on the floor. Discussion. Seeing none, roll call.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Andy Bozak. Mike Brickner.
Yes.
Sylvia Graham.
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Mike Jessen.
Yes.
Red Stone.
Yes.
So to reflect that, Form 144 changed $13,193 to $11,939 probation officer supervisor, $3,669 to $2,415 probation officer, $7,416 to $6,162 probation officer. This is reduction of $3,762 to general fund to correspond with additional grant funding received.
Motion on the 144.
Motion.
Second.
Second, discussion. roll call on the 144 change to reflect the reduction.
Andy Bozak.
Yes.
Mike Brickner.
Yes.
Sylvia Graham.
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Mike Justin.
Yes.
Red Stone.
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes. Passes, all right, so this would be the, picking it up, the additional $3,762 of salaries, $288 to FICA, $421 to PERF. Reason, receive pretrial grant funding for 2023, retroactive pay period 1.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion second, discussion. Roll call, please.
Mike Brickner.
Yes.
Sylvia Graham.
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Mike Justin.
Yes.
Red Stone.
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Andy Bozak.
Yes.
7-0.
Form 144, $36,400 to $37,654 probation officer supervisor, $36,400 to $37,654 probation officer, $36,400 to $37,654 probation officer. Reason, receive pretrial grant funding for 2023.
Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Second, discussion. Roll call, please.
Sylvia Graham.
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Mike Justin.
Yes.
Red Stone.
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Andy Bozak.
Yes.
Mike Brickner.
Yes.
7-0.
We should figure out how to move all the easy ones up front.
Oh, if only.
So we should figure it out. I didn't say we we're gonna do it. So health department.
Thanks, Melanie.
An additional $42,000 of training and education, reason staff development and training, meals, hotels, and conference fees.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second on the floor, discussion.
I have a question for you. So looking at your budget from 2022 and 2023, and the 2023 budget that was adopted, I show you have $12,000 in for training and education, and then you have $43,122, pretty much the same that you're asking. So is this a transfer, is this an actual additional that are asking for us to move into your account?
It would be an additional.
So even though you have 42,000 in your budget and 12,000 in your budget, you're asking for another 43,000 and another 12,000.
Right, so our training and ed isn't just for staff development like this is spoken for. Training and ed for us means all sorts of training and ed. So what all do we pull out of our training and ed, Chris, other than just, so it would go towards memberships for like national organizations. It would go towards any kind of trainings that we put on. So if we're putting on a training, for example, we've done 2 this week, any whatever supplies we need to go towards that would come out of training and ed also. So that's, it's not just strictly, we're basically, it sounds like we're doubling, right? And we are expected to do a lot more this year. I think all of you know, last year you challenged me to come up with some things that promoted our staff and our programs, and this was kind of what we came up with. The opportunity to do some of these national conferences we've never had the opportunity to do, and be in front of subject matter experts and be around the best. You know, to be the best, you got to be around the best and get the knowledge from the best, and that's kind of what we were doing.
I have no problem with that, to be honest with you. I send my people to Impact and across the country, but, I mean, I know you have $2.5 million in cash, and then, you know, you already have your budget, it's already February, so I just thought it was kind of a little premature, though.
So, you know, they came in for bonuses for their people last year, and we voted it down, and one of the suggestions was use that money for this.
So they didn't get stipends?
No, they were asking, so they got, for every shot given, they got a penny, or whatever it was, for every COVID shot.
Right.
They got a bunch of money, and they wanted to use that money for raises, or not raises, but.
Supplemental pay, we call it supplemental pay.
Give people more, and we didn't like that, because
Why?
we were going through the payroll study. We don't think we should have given, I
Oh,
think for me,
okay.
I don't think we should have given them a raise when nobody else was giving it. So we said,
Understandably.
use it for education, use it for your people.
Right. I guess I'm just saying we're in February, and they have, you know, they have a lot of money here, they have it in their budget. It just, in February, it just seems to me like you're coming for $60,000 that, you know, get down to November, and if you don't have money for training, fine.
Well, the good
But-
thing is it's their own,
November,
it's
but-
in their own pocket, it's not coming out of our general.
Again, everybody, you know, that's a good thing about taxes is, it's all of our pockets. Whether it's tourism, whether it's recycling, whether it's.
But they're doing what we had asked them to do.
Right.
So we can't fault them for doing exactly what we had asked them to do. So that's.
Right, no, you're right, what you asked them to do. I was on the board then, so it'd be fair to myself.
Right.
No one explained this to me. I see 2 numbers, and it just looks to me
No,
like,
that's
it's like,
right.
wow, you just come up here to double up,
Oh,
so.
you're right, yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to explain
Okay.
what had happened on mine.
So, I think to Red's point, he's just saying, you know, why the 42,000 right now? I mean, you've got money
Right.
in there, are you gonna spend it next month?
No. So one reason why we asked for it all right now is because I didn't want to come back to you, whenever the next conference.
Seems like coming here, like that in February, so.
But I don't want to take up unnecessary time. So if I do it all at once, we estimated how much we think, and honestly, we shot a little high just in case, because I know that some of these people will probably not want to travel out of state because of family, or we have some people who don't want to fly. And so I don't expect to utilize all of that. I just wanted to have it there in case we needed it and not burden you again every time we have a new conference we want to go to ask for more. So the NEHA, National Environmental Health Association, has one. That's the most recent one coming up, and it is in this summer. And so we kind of based everything off of that, expecting each employee to spend about, I think it was $1,800 in expenses for travel, conferences, food, all of that.
How many people go to that conference?
So it would depend upon each
What are you
division.
anticipating, how many people are you going to send?
Yeah, so to the NEHA one, we are looking at about 10 people of our staff. There's the American Public Health Association, and we are looking at, so that'll be our nurses, mostly Dr. Stamp, those folks. That would be about 11 people. Our Vital Records and Clerical, they have the Indiana IVRA, Vital Records Association, and then the EHR, which is Electronic Records Public Health Conference, that is in North Carolina. Yeah, right. It's a public health It's public health.
McDonald's farm.
And so that is 9 people.
Yeah, I agree with you.
All right, so.
So if you'd like me to come back, we can just work on the foods and environmental right now and go for that, but I just wanted to just get it all done in one swoop, because we'd like to give everybody the opportunity.
And I don't mean to be, look, I'm not like the crabby old person, but I see things like insurance, that we're gonna have a downfall, a shortfall possibly at the, not possibly, we're gonna have a shortfall. So every $60,000 that comes in front of us is just more money that we're gonna have to try and look other places for.
I don't think
that's all.
we contribute to that, though.
Yeah.
We're a separate fund.
Right. Okay, no, fair enough.
So, I mean, his just point is, we got sticker shock in February here with 6 pages.
I get it,
It's,
totally.
Next year, put the memo down, we're not meeting until what, April, May, June, July? So,
Figure that one out.
But, I mean,
It is coming out of our general fund, correct?
What still gets me?
No, this is not,
It's out of the
but,
health
Out of the health department
We
fund.
won't touch our fund, and we
But-
couldn't take that money for anything.
but the health department fund does,
5,952.
I mean, take a bit of our, part of our levy, if I'm correct. So,
We do get a portion of the
yes.
levy.
So to say it doesn't affect the general fund is incorrect, yeah.
This
But his
isn't
part of
good.
the money was the.
You can't get
the
it back.
That's what I was.
How much does it affect it?
What, our general fund and
Yeah,
all the levy, I mean, shoot, that's a discussion we'd have to have, yeah. But this is, I mean, whatever your guys' pleasure. Was there a motion, a second on the floor?
Yes, it was.
All right, can we get a roll call on the first additional?
Jeremy Rivas,
No.
Mike Jessen,
Yes.
Red
Because I want
Stone,
to see you later.
Oh, my God.
I'm
I
sorry,
didn't,
what'd you
did somebody?
Redstone.
Oh, I'm sorry, no.
Greg Sims,
Yes.
Andy Bozak,
Yes.
Mike Brickner,
Yes.
Sylvia Graham,
Yes.
5-2.
All right, another additional, $12,000 of travel, reason, staff development and training, flights and shuttle.
Motion.
Motion, second, discussion. Roll call, please. Madam
Mike
Moderator.
Jessen,
Yes.
Red Stone,
No.
Greg Sims,
Yes.
Andy Bozak,
Yes.
Mike Brickner,
Yes.
Sylvia Graham,
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
No, because I would like to see you in a couple months.
I can come back if you'd like.
Oh, you got your money.
I'll find a place to spend.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Yes. Porter County Sheriff.
And it looks like that's a yes on
I think this is like 3 pages long.
Different story.
After seeing tonight, Kathy's talking.
Yeah.
All right, general fund.
Good evening.
Holy crap, the general fund.
I know.
$7,840 of salary. Reason, restructuring of the patrol division ranks. Patrol commander to captain, lieutenant to patrol commander, 2 sergeants to lieutenant, for a total increase of $7,839. Which I'm certain the next 144 will reflect that exactly, right?
Yes.
So,
Move to approve.
motion?
Second.
Second, discussion. Just doing a little restructuring here.
I am.
It is general fund, but it's not hitting it that much. Hearing nothing else, can we get a roll call on the additional?
Red Stone,
Yes.
Greg Sims,
Yes.
Andy Bozak, Mike Brickner,
Yes.
Sylvia Graham,
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Mike Jessen.
Yes.
7-0.
Form 144, to reflect that, there's a motion on the floor.
Second.
Motion a second on the floor that reflects the additional adjustments to the captain, lieutenant, and sergeant for the restructuring. Motion second, further discussion. We get a roll call on the 144 change.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Andy Bozak. Mike Brickner.
Yes.
Sylvia Graham.
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Mike Jessen.
Yes.
Red Stone.
Yes.
7-0.
Accident report, an additional $3,250 to maintenance agreements. Reason appropriation needed to cover the cost for the accident evidence software system.
Motion.
Second.
Motion, a couple seconds. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Andy Bozak.
Yes.
Mike Brickner.
Yes.
Sylvia Graham.
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Mike Jessen.
Yes.
Red Stone.
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
7-0.
Firearms training fund, additional $15,400 other equipment. Reason appropriation needed to cover the cost of new tasers.
Motion.
Second.
Did you say motion or motion? Hey, all right, there's a motion in a couple seconds.
He said you swore.
Discussion.
You said a bad word.
Nation?
Motion.
All right, for
Say
discussion.
discussion?
Yes.
Yeah, can we use your old ones to tase somebody at the other end of this council?
Yeah, they do, they have a lifespan, and this is just to update them. Yep, yep.
Thank you.
Where do the old tasers go?
They just
To
take it
the
away.
taser heaven.
Yeah.
No, what we do is, a lot of times we will issue them also. Okay, this is an upgrade, a new, okay, and a lot of times we'll issue them to jail staff.
Oh, so they still use,
Yeah.
even better yet. Good. Because they're just used like once and then there are no more parts and all that stuff, right? So.
Yeah, and these are primarily just to update the new equipment that are, the technology within them.
All right, motion second on the floor, roll call, please.
Mike Brickner.
Yes.
Sylvia Graham.
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Mike Jessen.
Yes.
Red Stone.
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Andy Bozak.
Yes.
7-0.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to leave one in the council chambers.
Put one in my box, will you? So I can.
Additional $5,000 motor vehicle. Reason appropriation needed to cover the cost of installing new vehicle equipment. Sex and violent offender fund.
Move to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Second. Discussion. Roll call.
Sylvia Graham.
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Mike Jessen.
Yes.
Red Stone.
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Andy Bozak.
Yes.
Mike Brickner.
Yes.
7-0.
Drug Task Force Fund, additional $20,000 in motor vehicles. Reason appropriation needed to cover the cost of new vehicles.
If I may add, these vehicles are used. They're not brand-new vehicles. They are used vehicles, so we try to be conscientious of that when purchasing undercover vehicles.
Okay. You having a hard time finding vehicles if you had to find new vehicles?
I don't think, and we're able to do it. I mean, you know, there's
just
plenty,
curious.
yeah.
Wait, what are you're purchasing used lease vehicles?
Yeah, but these are undercover vehicles, yeah. So it's a different, they don't get all the miles on them and the wear and tear that the patrol division would put on them.
Are they electric?
No.
Not yet.
What's that?
Yeah, they need-
Good. We need them to run. We need them to run. Yeah, we need them to run. Good.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
Mike Jessen.
Yes.
Ron Stone.
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Andy Bozak.
Yes.
Mike Brickner.
Yes.
Sylvia Graham.
Yes.
7-0.
Videotape fee fund, $5,000. This is a transfer, $5,000. Yes.
Can I stop you?
Yes.
There's typos on these. I made, my apologies. This is not to cover overtime as it's listed. This is for training. I typed it out wrong on the form.
It says to
It
train
says training and
education.
education.
Yeah, but
When you
below
go down
for
to
a
the
reason.
reason,
Yeah.
Oh, it says a little.
says
Oh, yeah,
overtime
for
for
short-
shortage.
Okay, I
Yeah, I
gotcha.
just
All
didn't
right.
delete
Yeah.
it. My apologies.
No
For
problem.
both this one and the photo.
Gotcha.
Okay, it's $5,000 from equipment other than vehicles to training and education. Motion and second on the floor. Discussion. All in favor of the transfer signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Photo duplicate fund, a transfer $5,000 from data processing equipment to
Motion.
training and education.
Second.
Motion second on the floor. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Sheriff DEA forfeiture fund, proceeds fund, additional $135,980 to equipment rental. Reason appropriation needed to purchase 2023 body cams.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second on the floor. Discussion.
Do we, these are going to be new body cams?
So what happened is that we have a 5-year contract, okay? And we were locked in at a price for 5 years. The new contract is now due, okay? And so that's why there was a substantial increase of almost $60,000. But this price should be locked in for the next 5.
Does that include the fees? like-
Yeah, that's for that, that's for the in-car cameras, that's for the whole system.
So
in this fund, you think will be able to sustain it, those payments for, what? Why are you giving me that look?
You told us you could.
5 years ago, we said we would take it in the beginning, and the general fund was supposed to take it over in year 4 and 5, which they did not.
We did say that. I remember that.
So we are good and strong to take this year, and we will
Have a discussion
see you at
later?
budget.
I wasn't here, so.
We can have a roll call.
Right.
It was those guys. that
Mike
did it.
Jessen.
That's why I want Kathy here.
Mike, you're up.
Yes.
Red Stone.
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Andy Bozak.
Yes.
Mike Brickner.
Yes.
Sylvia Graham.
Yes.
Jeremy Rivas.
Yes.
7-0.
All right, federal prisoner DLC general fund, this is $175,000 for food and groceries, the reason to cover the increased cost of the food for inmates. Now, I talked to the sheriff, and then, you know, we discussed this a little bit, you know, prior to the meeting. He's got a budget, I don't know what it is, 300 and some,
Well, right now, we have 381 left out of the 500.
okay.
Okay, and so what we can do, and the reason how this all came about is just for the fact that, say, the contract for the current vendor expired December 31st, okay? New vendors came in, we had different vendors come in with the prices and estimates. The current vendor is who we want to go with. They gave us the best price. They were also very generous and agreeable with us during COVID and all the different restrictions that were put into place and all the additionals that we had to do. And we're very satisfied with what they've done. And on top of that, during the bidding process, they came in the lowest. Okay? So meals went from approximately $1.20 to $1.60. Okay, with inflation and everything else, right? So it's about 39 cents a meal-ish. So that's where the substantial increase comes in, okay? But because we have $381,000 left from that funded, that budgeted item, I'm willing to just come back later in the year when we have additional, when we know exactly where we're going to be. That 175 additional was an approximate and an estimate, and if we wait a few more months until we start getting down a little bit closer to the end of our budgeted amount, I can come back if you guys want and have more of a solid number for you that can carry us through the year.
Yeah, I think that would be good, yeah, see what we're burning them. I mean, you've got an idea now, right, for a couple months, so
Yep.
maybe we can get to July, August or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Have our inmates been pretty consistent throughout the years?
Yeah, we average about 350 a day, is that right, Chief?
Oh, okay.
Why don't we make a motion to just table this until he,
Yeah, I would recommend that.
Leave it on the agenda?
No, not necessarily. Harold, where's Harold? Did he leave?
No, I'm
Harold's
here.
I didn't see you. I mean, if we table it, doesn't leave it on the agenda, right? I mean,
No.
yeah. Or,
It's,
you know.
No.
But
legally, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the
Right.
other, so.
But the amount may change.
The amount may
though.
change, that's the only
Right.
thing I'm saying,
Right.
so if you just take it, I'd come back with the new amount. Yeah.
You know what? How about
table the
No,
additional?
you can
Just
make a
remove
motion
it?
to come back in
Yeah.
July.
How about we just leave it alone? There's no. It'll just die for lack of any action.
There you go.
Okay.
That's even better yet.
Yeah.
I
And then,
removed-
yeah.
Come back when you need it.
All right.
I'll come back when I need
We'll
it.
stay in touch then.
All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
What's that?
Canteen.
Canteen?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, out of Michigan.
By my office.
Okay.
See, I voted on the sheriff to do it like the old days when the sheriff in, the old jail, he used to
Oh,
cook
you
for
don't
the
want me
inmates.
cooking.
Peanut butter jelly?
Sheriff, while you're here, while we got you, I've had, we've had some discussions, and I know, Greg, you had your meeting about the opioid money.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if we want to are you in a hurry to take off?
No. I'm here for you guys, whatever you guys need.
Do you want to hang out for 10 minutes?
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
Jessica.
Okay.
Yeah, we won't make you wait, Jessica.
I'm good. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So, Jessica, last but not least, for certain, general fund, oh, Lord. An additional $33,735 of salaries, increase needed for duty clerk, small claims requesting from changes from 1 to 2 employees.
So is this a new position?
No. So in November, I had 2 small claims in each courthouse. Somehow, when
one of the positions, she left and she went to the courts. When I went to fill it, the position was gone. So we can't really figure out, when no positions were taken away during budget time, where that position went. So now I'm coming back and asking just to have it back again, because it should have never.
Did you lose it?
Where did it go?
No, it shouldn't have gone anywhere. Should not
Saying
have.
if
but
no one
it's-
noticed.
It's disappeared.
It just disappeared.
How long have you been without?
The middle of November. But I was working with the auditor's office on correcting the wage analysis, and that was a higher priority than filling this position at that time. Now, I'm getting to the point that I can't keep pulling from different areas of the office to fill this position because I have someone leaving on maternity leave. So I have to fill this position.
If you don't mind, how many people are in your office?
Well, I say 35. When the auditor's office gave me the original form, they said 36. I said I can only come up with 35, and then all of a sudden it went down to 34. So currently I have 34, I should have 35.
I thought, didn't it say 35 when we looked, or did it say 34?
I thought it said 35.
So did I, yeah. I thought we just.
In any case, I was told I couldn't fill it until I came here and asked for the position again.
We took a glance at the salary ordinance, and I thought it said 35 on there. I mean, so there's,
The salary ordinance says 34.
does it say 34?
Yeah, it says 34. But
Okay, thank you.
according to the form that I was sent from the auditor's office, it said 36. And then I said I can only come up with 35. And then it came back at 34.
How do we lose an employee?
So we lost a person somewhere.
How did you lose one of your employees?
She went to the courts, took her position with her.
Especially.
So you,
Did you create a position in the court for her, or you just moved her to an open
No,
position?
the judge stole her. That happens
say that
sometimes.
a little bit louder.
Yeah. He knows. It's
Oh.
not the first one.
So you have had two these, what are they called, deputy clerk, small claims? You've had two in each court,
Correct.
but now you've only had one where at, in Portage?
Valpo.
Valpo? But you had two up until sometime in November. The person got stolen.
Yes.
Did you file a report with the sheriff?
Courts pay her more.
Got stolen, and then there wasn't a priority at the time to replace that person, but now you want to replace it, and now there's no position.
And it's February.
It says 34. It was 2022 that said 31.
So it says 34.
When did you realize this
2023, we
mistake?
budgeted for
In
3 and
December.
it should have been 4?
Sorry, thank you.
But in December, there's a stay on eviction, so it wasn't high on my priority list. I needed to correct the wage analysis and where everybody was getting paid for their January pay raise. And then in January is when I started working with Tiffany, and then now it was February.
If someone, I don't know.
So there's, if I'm just looking at it, I apologize. So there's deputy clerk, small claims. Am I doing it right? Deputy clerk, small claims, child support, Portage, deputy clerk,
Yeah,
small
so
claims,
this is what
child
the
support,
wage
Portage.
analysis came back with. It completely made things difficult. The small claims in Portage is also responsible for child support. In Valpo, they're not. In Valpo, we have other designated people for that.
Right, okay, the traffic and, well, no, that's Portage.
So you notice that you're missing this person? Did you notice it by just saying a number 34 instead of 35?
No, we
Or
noticed it when
because
we were
you're
going,
busy?
when we were going through the wage analysis in December, is when I realized that it was different when Tiffany and I
So
started
it isn't
going through that.
because you're needing somebody at that counter?
Oh, no, it's absolutely, we need someone.
Well, I just thought you said it's because you noticed a difference in numbers.
That's what it was in December. In December, there's a stay on evictions, so that position isn't the most busiest. They're more busy with small claims, less busy with evictions because there's a stay. The judges won't kick people out of their homes in the month of December.
So when you started having this conversation back in December with,
With Tiffany.
what did the auditors, what did the auditor say?
That's when she sent me this form where I needed to start plugging people in based on the new positions that they were going to be. And that's when we realized that they were wrong, and then we decided that it was a better avenue to go monetarily over the number of people filled, because all of their pay was completely messed up.
I'm gonna be honest
Generous.
with you, I'm just gonna tell you, I'm gonna vote no until I figure out exactly how many people is needed or how many, somebody can explain it to me, because I tried, and I've been looking at this book for months, and when you came for this, I was really trying to be like, okay, well, if you need 34 and they took one, I have no problem replacing if it's in the budget. I
Did the-
I don't,
yeah,
but
did
I
the
don't know what, I just don't really know what.
In the 2023 budget, it shows that there are 4 positions for small claims.
There's always been 4 positions for small claims.
So why are we asking for more?
Because they're
I'm
saying
not- I
it's
have
not in the
3.
salary ordinance,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, right now I'm showing 3.
It's in the budget, though. Is it not in the budget?
That's why I didn't understand, Mike.
It's showing 2,
Well,
it shows 4 small
Yeah.
claims people.
Right.
But is that too?
Yes, so, but those people that are in, okay, no, never mind. Yes, I should have 2 in Valpo and 2 in Portage.
So a total of 4.
Yes.
Which show, it's reflected in your budget.
But when I went to fill it, they told me that I only had 3
Well, it sounds like it's in your
positions.
budget, you just need to fill it.
What makes it a lot easier for us to vote yes on, that's what we're trying to figure out. If it's the money.
I'm going with that one.
We just have to create.
so it's not gonna show up on here, it's only gonna show the salary, total salaries, but we've got a discrepancy between what was in our.
You see that?
Yeah.
This may be something we have to table till we figure out.
Looks like it's in there.
Yeah, it's in,
Why does it say requesting from 1 to 2?
on this line item right here, requesting from 1 to 2, it shows 2,
Oh.
and then 3 and 4, so, but she's saying it's down 1, but we're showing it's been
2.
budgeted for
4.
4, or in that position 2, so, well, if she only has 1, I mean, unless her goes payroll.
Is that correct, Auditor? Ms. Osmond? But what they're saying is that,
That's looking at, so I can't tell you what
Oh,
he's got.
yeah.
I only got the salary ordinance.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, because if that's correct, it makes my vote a lot easier.
It says requesting 1 to 2.
This, okay, but it also says she has 32 employees.
on this one.
Right, so let me compare the other positions to make sure
That number right.
one hasn't been moved. Give me a second here.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. I have no problem, if it's budgeted and it's owed, I have no problem doing it.
Just, you need to relax and we can share it back in for a while.
Hey, Ryan, can we jump to board and elections and do the transfer?
Sure.
While she's looking?
Yep.
Real fast. All right, we're gonna skip over real fast, can I keep moving? Board and elections registration, general fund, there's a transfer of $20,700 from ballots and coding to dues and subscription.
Second.
There's a motion and a second on the floor, discussion. All in favor of the transfer signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Harold, you got anything?
Other than I apologize for being late today, I had a deposition at Randolph.
We forgot all about it.
All right.
There you go.
Thanks for reminding
That's
us.
right.
All right, so clear that up.
Yes, I'm sorry.
And, Jessica, can you, aside from the number of 3 or 4, so the additional is for 33,000 and change,
You know what I'm saying?
right?
Yes.
And then, but the salary is 41,767?
By the time the person is hired, they won't be able to start
year.
before March payroll.
So is that right, 41?
Yes, the 41,767 is what they'll receive annually, but because they're starting so far into the year, it'll be a reduced amount.
Well,
You figured
let's
you'd have them
see-
hired by
let's see what
March or
the
April
auditor
or-
says. Jeremy. Oh, she's back talking. She was walking in.
So you had this
This
position
doesn't
filled.
make sense. So
You
you
had-
have, how many do you have working? Do you have this position? Someone working in it?
No, it's vacant currently.
It's vacant
She's
right
trying to
now.
replace it, but they're telling her she can't because the position doesn't exist, according to the salary ordinance.
Well, here's a weird question. Okay, he's got 2 on here for that small claims, then some other position must be missing. Because if you add those two in, it's 32, and if you're saying it should be 33 or 34, then somebody else has omitted 30, you know what I mean? Because on mine, it says 2 positions for that.
That's the adjustment she made, that's what she said.
Yeah, but it's still 32. She should have more than 32.
She's missing 3.
That's what's paid out of the general fund. There's
Oh,
also.
You have an archive
so the ones that are not paid out of general fund are not in
There's
here.
also some in the perpetuation fund.
Do you have an archive coordinator?
Yes, out of the perpetuation fund.
Out of perpetuation.
Okay, but it's on this, the 144 for the general fund.
It should not be. It should
Okay,
be
so
out of the
this is
perpetuation.
what some of the problems, you've got the wrong people in the wrong budget, and so
There's
that's
a
probably
whole lot of
some of the
problems.
problems.
Just maybe we need to table it
I second the
until
motion to
we-
table it until
Until we can
we
figure
figure it
this
out. And
out.
if you're
We'll
due, I
gladly
have no problem.
do whatever, we're not
Do you
saying
want to work
no.
on this later?
Yes, as soon as possible, because the
Well,
judges are not
their
being
deadline
happy.
tomorrow is March 1st for March meeting, so we'd have to do it tomorrow.
Okay.
to get this.
The judges are what?
Not happy that their work's taking so long to get done, because we only have one person.
They're never happy.
I told them that.
Are they ever happy?
That judge is important, and he doesn't care.
Got a motion.
I got a motion, well, but I'm not president, I gotta wait for, I gotta wait for Big Shot here.
Well, he left the table, take the gavel.
No, that's not my style.
Yeah, I gotcha. So was there a motion on the floor?
Yes, and a second.
There's a motion, a second to table. Further discussion? All in favor of tabling signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, so that would mean the 144 is the same, so that's tabling that. It's the same.
Can she be dismissed? She wants to leave.
Can we leave now?
Yes, yes.
Thank you,
We're
Jessica.
done.
It's gonna get straightened out.
All right,
Bright and early tomorrow.
second reading. We'll go to the second reading real fast, if you don't mind, what we did, the damage.
The following additional and reductions have been brought before you tonight for consideration. General fund salaries, reduction of 22,000. Consultants, additional 15,000. Salaries, reduction of 3,762. Salary increase of 7,840. Accident report fund, maintenance agreements of 3,250. Cumulative bridge fund, interfund transfer of $1,040,444.23. Firearms training fund, additional for other equipment of $15,400. Health fund, additional for training and education of $42,000. Additional for travel of $12,000. Local roads and streets fund, additional for other equipment $70,000. Additional contractual services $150,000. Motor vehicle highway fund, additional $41,600 in hourly. Additional $300,000 in motor vehicles. Additional $1.5 million in bituminous. Additional $200,000 in aggregates. Parks operating fund, additional $20,000 in hourly. Additional $1,530 in FICA. Additional $16,000 in other equipment. Stormwater fund, consultants, additional $200,000. Assessors reassessment fund, dues and subscription, additional of $5,952. Sex and violent offenders fund, additional for motor vehicles of $5,000. Drug task force fund, motor vehicle additional of $20,000. Sheriff DEA forfeiture proceeds fund, equipment rental additional $135,980. 93.946 SUID SDY grant fund, additional for other equipment of $9,000. Adult probation community corrections pretrial grant fund, additional salaries for $3,762. FICA for $288. PERF for $421. Local roads and bridge LRB CCMG match grant fund, an additional for bituminous of $321,233. Tourism, additional for salaries of $72,450, additional for FICA of $5,542, additional for medical and life insurance of $19,376, additional for PERF of $8,114, additional for longevity of $1,250, and additional for contractual attorney of $1,000.
I'm not certain, not a whole lot. How much was the general fund, you know, off?
Total
Lance?
that we passed tonight?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we actually reduced it by $4,000.
We reduced the general fund?
By $4,000.
Oh, man, we're right on track. All right. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Motion second on the floor, discussion, complete a roll call, second reading.
Mike Jessen,
Yes.
Red Stone.
Yes.
Greg Sims.
Yes.
Andy Bozak.
Yes.
Mike Brickner.
Yes.
Sylvia Graham.
Yes.
Jeremy Reese.
Yes.
7-0.
All right, well, I'll try to hurry. So, Sheriff stuck around. Sheriff, so Greg, you had a meeting with the opioid, I can't say the word to say.
Opioid?
Opioid settlement fund. And I think the commissioners are supposed to have something, one of their admin meetings to discuss. I'm not sure how they do it in that meeting.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm handling this one with you.
Understood.
And Mike was here too, by the way.
There was.
And Mike, and I don't have an in-depth
Andy wasn't.
Roseanne was.
understanding of what came out of that meeting, you guys.
Your kids.
But, in discussion with a few members of the council and in talking with the sheriff, I think what you did over in Valpo, you hired a social worker. And to me, at least in my initial opinion, is that this money has been sitting in the county since last late, I think maybe November, December, the first settlement. I think we get it all the way through like 2038 or something, but I think our biggest deposit was already made, and then it kind of trickles down. But, to me, the problem still exists, and in my opinion anyways, the best way to begin to tackle this is to deploy some of this money at the ground level, which would be, in my opinion, with the sheriff and maybe mimic what he did in Valpo. So I'm not sure, and Greg, that doesn't take away, so when our first deposit last year was, the restricted was $416,575. The unrestricted is, $100,000, $416,000 restricted, $101,000 unrestricted. So, and I think glancing back that the restricted kind of holds at like 100 and maybe 120, 108. It's almost like we could keep somebody employed for a long time to
It
come.
was, 427 was unrestricted, and it was 117,000.
That was just initial
That was
deposit.
just initial deposit, was unrestricted, or
Yeah.
where you could use it for anything. And my hopes were that we used it all for opiate, not.
Right. I would wholeheartedly, and it seemed like the group in there felt the same way. All the all the municipalities were invited that are receiving this money. And we had an open discussion. It was very good. People threw out their opinions, what they think, but I will tell you, the general consensus was, we loved what the sheriff did he was the police chief in Valpo. Everyone thought that counseling kind of position would be extremely helpful to the whole county. Plus a coordinator, a county coordinator, we had.
County care coordinator.
Care
That's-
coordinator,
yeah.
right.
County care.
County care coordinator that's what Mitch and others have put together.
Yeah.
From a separate from, the police social worker, what we would call that is a police resources and outreach coordinator, okay? But with the understanding and the prerequisite that that's a master's of social worker, that education level.
Hey, Greg, I can tell you, and Sheriff can attest to this, when I found out what you were doing in Valpo, I jumped on that months ago, and I was just hoping to God that we could get some consensus that was a good program.
Absolutely.
And probably the best bang for its buck, so it seems like it's
It's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
And meeting with there's the woman that Sheriff hired for the city, I've never heard anything but unbelievable, phenomenal things, and what a benefit it is to have that position. So, absolutely, would you agree, Mike?
No question.
Yeah. So,
Well, and that person would work, I believe, hand in hand with what Mitch is proposing. And I think there's a definite need for that. I think, Melanie from adult probation also brought up, and so did, Ms. Cox from juvenile probation, saying that, we have to definitely look at juvenile resources as well, and what that looks like for prevention and care, and once somebody is identified as having, whether it's a substance dependency or mental health issue, homelessness, that we try to get all these people coming together to make a difference, and I think it will. I really do.
right, and now Porter Stark their program is going to be up and running soon, where it's a situation where someone is not quite harmful to where they have to go to the jail, they can be 24-hour facility at Porter Stark to watch these people so that they're not overburdening the sheriff's department in any way, shape, or form. So
We need an inpatient facility in Porter County, something fierce, and there's some things coming down the pike with private developers that possibly might be coming in, and so hopefully, God willing, they see that Porter County is a value for something like that, so.
What's the next step? Because we asked Sheriff, I mean, so is he working on developing those coordinators? Is it through the commissioners? Is it
Well,
coordination?
no, and that's why I would ask Harold, and I talked to Commissioner Biggs briefly, and I could be wrong on this, because it's the state created the fund, maybe Madam Auditor or Ryan, this was a state-created fund, that's why the money was already deposited in it, it's not an ordinance-created fund, so the money's there. I think the next action, in my opinion, is to just allocate it. You know, I mean, and I did discuss it with Commissioner Biggs, and he seemed to be on board with it also.
People you were talking.
So,
Well, no, mine, all I'm asking, what I would ask for right now is one, okay? Because there's one already dedicated in Valpo. You have the Center Township trustee has a part-time. You have, in my conversations with the chief at Portage, and I don't want to speak for him, obviously, but they're looking at that, you know, so the more we get in throughout the county, I think that's going to be the less that we're going to need at the county level, because they can all work hand in hand throughout the entire county. So right now, I would like to, you know, not right now, but I mean, and these are conversations I had with Mitch as well, you know, and I support 100% of what he's doing. And I think, so I don't want to sit here and, you know, I didn't know we were having this conversation today, so I don't want to take funds away or
So Chief, I have
mitigate.
Chief
Yeah.
Bell, Sheriff Bell,
that's
I'm sorry
okay.
about that. Yeah, that was a good November, wasn't it? If we did appropriate it tonight, I mean, is it, you can hire her next week or the week after, or?
Well,
we can't tonight, but that's the point.
This is what I'm trying to say, is let's not put the cart before the horse. If the commissioners are on board for this, why don't we just, can we wait for the commissioners, we get on board, and then we all do it together? Because I just don't want to look like we're trying to.
no, I had a discussion with Commissioner Biggs, and he seemed to be on board. He said he had a discussion with another
I
commissioner.
just didn't want to be, you know.
No, but, and so I think if we're meeting quickly next month, and that will be the next conversation, if there's a way to create this position, a 144 would have to be created for, you know, however you want to, if you could get with the auditor's office tomorrow, if that's possible, I know we're kind of pushing it, and then it can be on the agenda, it still doesn't mean we pass it,
No,
but
that's
we
fine.
can advertise for it, we can put it on the agenda to create this, whatever you want to title it, this.
For simplicity, it's always easy to say, I love acronyms, all right?
Yeah.
This would be the PRO coordinator, Police Resources and Outreach Coordinator.
So you create that pro coordinator position on the 144, whatever salary you want to attach to it, and then if you could get that to the auditor's office and we can get it, we can advertise it and get it on our next agenda for March, then we could tackle the question on the agenda.
No problem with that.
The thing to think about and consider, though, is to make sure that whatever we decide to do is truly, it should, by all rights, be a collaborative effort with what the Commissioner's Office is wanting to do. They've got a meeting next week.
March 6th.
Related to that.
Yeah.
It should be in cooperation and collaboration with the meeting that we've already had, the meeting that kind of Greg coordinated, to make sure that everybody's on the same page and everybody knows exactly where all the funds are going to go throughout the county and from different municipalities. So there's still plenty of pieces to figure out and put together before we jump ahead or do something that's maybe a part of what the future is going to be. And we got to make sure that.
But it sounds like we have 7 people here that are 100% willing to definitely do it, which is a great first start.
Well, I won't be here next meeting, so.
Oh, 6 people.
Unless I
I
can.
don't know, we'll get to that, so, we'll get to that, but I think, I mean, in total, I know it spreads out, but if I'm reading this right, in total, we get almost $2 million. Now, I know it goes over to 2038 or something, 2038, but we've got a big portion of that already. We could do other things, too.
Yeah, here's my other question too. The one in Valpo, was that paid for by the city or was that a grant?
So that one is paid for by a grant through HealthLink.
Is it possible that this one could be grant, like if we funded it the first year? I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, I've already asked HealthLink that question and no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because honestly, they've really seen a value in it, so they're funding other other locations.
Okay.
Okay? But that was originally, that's still being funded through HealthLink. And the thing is that, you know, obviously, with a grant, you never know when it ends. You know, and that's the bad thing about it.
Well, that's a great first start, Greg. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, everybody here. Thank you for, you know, I mean, I know we've been talking about this, and this is something I think that's really going to affect the people, the officers of Porter County.
Well, you know, and
Good
what's,
first step.
again, you know, I mean, and not to go, I'll try to stay off my soapbox, but even last year, right before I did a seminar, towards the end of last year, I even, you know, gauged the officers in an anonymous survey and how they felt about it. And some of the words that were said were, I didn't think it'd make a difference, but it does. I wish we had more accessibility to the PSW. You know, so, and that in Valpo's case, you're looking at someone who makes contact with, you know, 70 to 100 people a month, okay, from all different needs. So there's a definite need for that.
Yeah,
And the other amazing thing is the woman she's got she knows everybody. She knows all the firemen, all the police. I mean, it's an unbelievably warm relationship, and it works, it works well. And I talked to her quite a bit. I mean, she's a great person, so I can't speak enough of her.
It works well, and what we need to do is see how it best fits for the county.
Right.
Because it's a little bit different.
Right, and you're right, Mike, if we come together with that whole group again, we call them and we say, this is what we're proposing as a county, and then that frees up some of their money to do something else too. Because one of the things I proposed for those that weren't at the meeting was, hey, if Porter County's gonna do this, what are you how else can Hebron, how can you help put some of your money in the collective for the whole county? And Burns Harbor, and everybody was there except for Couts and Portage. And we all seemed to be, and I had all the other outliers there too, the probation and juvenile detention, and we had Porter Stark was there, and
Prosecutor's office.
Prosecutors, thank you, yeah. It was pretty cool, you know, that this group had a nice, good, and it was a couple-hour meeting. So, and everyone had a chance to talk. And
There
put
was
their
cookies too.
There were cookies and cheesecakes.
So at least this, Greg, thank you for your work, you know, consistently on stuff like the suicide stuff and stuff like this, and this puts it on it, and like I said, I did have a discussion with Commissioner Biggs, and I know they're having a meeting, so this at least puts it on our agenda. To me, we've had this money sitting there for now 3 or 4 months, and if this is part of a bigger plan, why not deploy this money and get, you know, the pro person on the...
Pro coordinator.
Pro
There you go.
coordinator on the streets right away.
You really like that.
So if you could get with the auditor, you know, tomorrow sometime, and we'll at least advertise it, and, you know, if there's a roadblock, then maybe it's another month out, but at least we'll have it on the agenda, and if maybe it can happen, we can get this thing going, but it's
I just don't want to just leave anyone out, though.
Yeah.
This group and this collective group that are putting a plan together, I don't want them left out.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
So, thank you. Thank you,
You're welcome.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Yep.
So, Dave, I know there's some conflicts. Greg, I think you said you're going like Aruba or Jamaica or...
Punta Cana?
Oh, somewhere, whatever.
Can we do the foundation meeting the same night?
Yeah, well, that would be the plan. So if March 28th doesn't work, is everybody available the 21st?
Is that?
Wait, I got
I'm
a
available.
dentist appointment with Val that night. Not this Tuesday.
The spring break is on.
The 28th, right? Yes, that's why a lot of people do on vacation, so.
So if you guys are okay, can we move to the 21st, and then she can reschedule?
21st is
Madam Auditor,
fine.
you're okay?
I couldn't make it on the 28th either.
Okay, so perfect.
That's good.
Ryan, you got golf that night?
Yep.
We kind of,
Can't make it.
we screwed you out of golf tonight, I apologize.
So we're meeting on the 21st now?
That's if there's a consensus.
And then, is that the foundation as well?
I think Laura will try to reach out then.
So let us know? Okay, cool.
Mike?
That works.
Red?
This is for the March meeting?
Yes.
Okay, we have to have everything like in tomorrow.
Yeah, it's pretty new.
Okay.
So
Be
do
a
you want
quick
to
one then.
shoot an email out first thing in the morning time?
You're not doing enough tonight?
Saying,
Yeah, we did a lot.
hey, we need it now.
I was
Emergency.
supposed to go out to dinner with my wife, I had to text her, like, hey, man, this is
No more 6-page.
Mike, are you okay with 21st?
Stone.
Hey, you gotta talk to
Brendan,
this
you're...
guy.
Yeah, I'm good.
We'll check on the date.
All right, so we're going to move our meeting to the 21st.
Yep.
So, okay, everybody good? Any other matter that may properly be coming before the council?
Yeah, you know, I wasn't expecting whatever, 2.5 hour meeting, but I did want to start something at the end, hopefully with the good things that are happening in Porter County every now and again with with government, you know, there's things that we
Me
all
being
do.
elected?
Yeah, you being elected, pretty much, Jeremy, so.
Good things, yeah.
With you being elected, I'd like to start off by saying congratulations to Aiden Torres. He's a CHS senior wrestler, state champion, 145 pounds. He was undefeated throughout the whole year. We had a CHS girls swimming, 14th at state meet, CHS boys swimming, 10th at state meet. Best in Northwest Indiana, by the way, just FYI. Scott Paycheck, CHS senior boys swimmer, 3rd at state meet. Rachel Dildine, CHS junior girls swimmer, 7th at state meet. Suri Desh, she's a CHS sophomore, and she actually won the Boys and Girls Club of Northwest Indiana Youth of the Year. So that's all of Lake and Porter County, and I believe some of the, Lake and Porter County. CHS cheerleading got 7th at nationals. CHS boys basketball DAC champs for the 3rd consecutive year. Not to be partial, I hope it's the 4th, but I will congratulate Valpo if they do beat us, just FYI, in
I
March.
think the Valparaiso Gymnastics won.
They did, and that's my point here was, I follow Doolin, Valpo, and Portage a lot in sports. If anybody, you know, if there's good things happening,
I didn't know
I think
you
at
were
the end of the
going to
meeting,
do
it'd be
this,
nice
so
to
I
kind of give
kept
people a
going.
shout out once in a while, so. And we did have.
Mine, I had a couple.
And we did have, by the way, Sergio Lemley, just FYI, he's a Porter County resident, he was CHS, he went to Mount Carmel, and he was a 4-time state champ, and just, that's a phenomenal feat. He is going to be going to the University of Michigan on a scholarship, so that's
Cool.
good deal. So I just wanted to say some good things, Jeremy, even though you were elected.
Oh.
I think,
In spite of that.
In spite of that.
highlighting our youth is important. And
It should be.
Appreciate that, yes, for sure, so thank you for that. Yes, so, now, I suppose next month, we're gonna have reports from Couts and Chesterton.
Well, Rick, we're gonna have a report, right? Nope.
In Washington Township and Union Township.
Burns Harbor Schools.
Hey, if our kids win state championships, we should be recognized. That's a heck of an accomplishment.
We should
For
recognize
the
our
region,
youth.
right?
That's right,
Dang
yes.
right it is.
Before they get, you know, we're talking about, you know, the drug problem and stuff.
Yeah,
and
let's
I
get them
think-
involved in stuff instead of, yeah, I'd rather talk about this than drug problems or overdoses, so.
You got it.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion, second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
On that island again. Sorry, Ryan.